Hokage. My Sharingan can cultivate automatically. Chapter 61. In the Genjutsu space, Shibaki was unable to resist Uchiha Sora's Genjutsu hypnosis and told the whereabouts of the heroic water in detail. The heroic water is hidden underground, somewhere at the roots of a big tree. After throwing down the waiting wood, Uchiha Sora swam all the way through the underground river of the waterfall to a cave at the base of the big tree, where he found the hero's water in a bottle. Hero water is pure and transparent and looks no different from ordinary water. But Uchiha Sora, through the Sharingan, could see that the hero's water contained powerful energy. Sure enough, this heroic water contains a lot of natural energy. It should be a liquid condensed by the natural energy gathered by the big tree over the years. This is a bit like the principle of the sacred tree, Uchiha said secretly. The sacred tree is an alien species that plunders the earth's natural energy to produce fruits. In comparison, the methods of species native to the earth absorbing natural energy are relatively gentle. This big tree that covers Tokigakure village can be considered a treasure. From this point of view, in addition to Dragon Vein, this is also a good place to practice Sage Jutsu. The power of the Dragon Vein is very huge, and it is very dangerous to practice it rashly. In comparison, the natural energy here is much weaker than the Dragon Vein, but it is very gentle and ubiquitous. It's a pity that Uchiha Kong doesn't know how to sense natural energy, otherwise he would be able to practice meditation here now. The hero's water contains a large amount of natural energy. If someone from Sage Jutsu drinks it rashly, it will have huge side effects. Uchiha Kong sealed the hero's water, left the roots of the tree, and returned to the ground with the Flying Thunder God. Shibuki had woken up from Genjutsu, and when he saw Uchiha Sora, he said with a look of fear on his face, "You, what did you do to me?" "It's nothing. I have already obtained the hero's water. Next, I need you to go to the front line to evacuate those people in Tokigakure village," Uchiha Kong said calmly. Shimu fell into silence upon hearing this. "What, you don't want to?" Uchiha frowned. Shenmue asked in a low voice, "What are you going to do with us?" After seeing the power of Uchiha Sora, Shibuki knew that Tokigakure village had no chance of winning this time, and would definitely accept the judgment of Kusakunin village as the defeated party. "It seems that you, the son of the leader, still have some consciousness." Uchiha smiled and said, "Don't worry, I am not Kakuzu, and I will not kill you all. However, Tokigakure village will be placed under the rule of Kusunoin village in the future, and the country of Taki it will also be incorporated into the territory of the country of Grass." "What?" Shenmue was shocked when he heard this, and said hurriedly, "You actually want to annex us? Why, we only launched a war against you as a last resort. Now that Kakuzu is dead, we admit our mistakes and tell you isn't it enough to compensate?" Uchiha Kong said calmly, "Compensation? Tokigakure village is a good place, so just compensate me for everything here." "You." Shenmue was filled with grief and anger. Uchiha Kong suddenly turned cold and said in a cold voice, "Remember, this is war. The weak must be prepared to be eaten alive. What's more, I only annexed your territory and did not kill you all. This is a kindness to you. The strength of Tokigakure village is much weaker than Uchiha imagined. If it weren't for its superior geographical location, easy to defend and difficult to attack, and located at the intersection of big countries, it would have been annexed and divided by other villages long ago." After saying these words, Uchiha Kong took Shibaki and directly launched the Flying Thunder God technique and came to the position closest to the border battlefield. As this here, Shenmue felt his eyes blur and realized that he had arrived at a strange place from Takian village. He couldn't help but be startled. "This is near the battle zone between you Tokigakure and us. Uchiha Sky's path. What, we actually came to the war zone?" Shenmue was shocked. "I went from Tokigakure village to the border in a blink of an eye. Isn't this terrifying? Tokigakure has provoked such an enemy, does it still have a chance of winning?" At this time, the two sides were fighting fiercely on the battlefield between Tokigakure village and Kusakunin village. Since the Tokigakure village had previously sent hundreds of ninjas to ambush the Uchiha Dark Team, leaving the battlefield empty of power, the Kusanagi troops quickly overran their defenses, turning against the visitors and turning from defense to offense. Especially after the Uchiha Sora and Uchiha Yi teams later joined, the situation became even more obvious. The remaining ninja forces in Takigakure village were no match for the grass ninjas and were constantly repelled. On the battlefield, the 8-man team of Uchiha Hao and Uchiha Yi was like a sharp knife on the battlefield. As members of the Uchiha clan, they are much stronger than ordinary grass ninjas, and the Takigakure ninjas are no match for them. Wherever they went, the Takigakure ninjas were retreating steadily. The power of the Uchiha clan was finally revealed to everyone at this moment. The grass ninjas who were originally a little dissatisfied with the Uchiha clan also admired the Uchiha clan from the bottom of their hearts. As expected of the Uchiha clan, their strength never needs the big tree of Konoha village to set off, but is synonymous with strength itself. With the support of the Uchiha clan, the Takigakure ninjas were quickly defeated. When Uchiha Sora and Shibuki arrived at the battlefield, the Takigakure ninjas suffered heavy casualties and were in danger. Seeing the tragic battlefield and seeing people he was familiar with in the past lying in a pool of blood, Shibuki, who was less than 10 years old, trembled all over and suffered a huge impact in his heart. With a pop, Shamu fell to his knees and cried bitterly. Suffering 2 blows in one day, he could no longer bear it and his psychological defense collapsed. Seeing Shibuki breaking down and crying, Uchiha Sora ordered his side to temporarily withdraw the offensive. Then he picked up Shibuki and walked to the front of the battle line. He looked at the group of Takigakure ninjas on the opposite side and said loudly, "Your leader's son is here. Why don't you stop?" On the other side, everyone in Takigakure heard Uchiha Sora's words and couldn't help but look at him intently. What? How could the leader's son be in his hands? Isn't it possible? Isn't he in Takian village? Did something happen to Takian village? With that guy here, what else will happen to Takigakure village? Well, that seems to be really the leader's son Shenmue. However, someone finally recognized Shenmue and said, "Is there something really wrong with the village?" At this time, Uchiha Kong continued, "You have no chance of winning this war. Moreover, your leader has been killed by Kakuzu, including those ninjas who are still in the leader's mansion, all are dead." Uchiha Sora's words were like a bombshell, thrown into the crowd, causing huge waves. The expressions of all the Takigakure ninjas changed. "Impossible. Stop being alarmist. Do you think you can talk nonsense here after arresting our leader's son? I think that Shimu is fake, too. Don't think you can deceive us. Do you want us to surrender? There's no way." Looking at the people who were still resisting stubbornly, Shenmue came to his senses and finally shouted, "Everyone, run. What he said is true. If you don't run, you will all die here. Hey, you're pretending to be our leader's son, don't even think about disrupting our military morale." Someone shouted. "That's so long-winded." Uchiha frowned and became impatient. He raised his hand to form a seal and created a shadow clone. The main body said to Uchiha Hao and Uchiha beside him, "I'll leave this place to you. I'll leave Shibuki here. You can find a way to make these Takigakure ninjas give up their resistance. Take as many prisoners as you can. If it doesn't work, kill them. Well, with my shadow clone here, they can't make any waves." After saying that, Uchiha Sora activated the Flying Thunder God technique and left. When he reappeared, he had returned to the Grass Ninja village. The victory of the Takigakure front has been decided. But there is still the threat from the Rain Country troops to the south. The strength of the ninjas in Yuyan village is not weak, almost comparable to the strength of the ninjas in the 5 major ninja villages. Moreover, there is Akatsuki organization management behind Omegakure village, which has a profound background and is the most difficult to mess with. Uchiha Kong sent almost all the strength of the original Grass Ninja village to resist, and adopted a defensive posture to minimize casualties and delay time. But not long after he came back, pharmacist Nanoyu came to him and reported to him the news that a large force from the Kingdom of Earth was attacking on the western border. The Yenian village troops are menacing, numerous and the most ferocious. "Chief, the leader of the Earth Kingdom troops is Wangtu, and there is also a big man in red armor, who is suspected to be the 5 Tails Jinchuriki of Iwagakure village. The total number of enemies is at least 5,000, which is far more than the total number of ninjas in our Kusanagi village. With such a scale, our ninjas will definitely not be able to stop it." Medicine Master Nanoyu said worriedly. "There are a full 5,000, and the leader is Lois, and the other is a terrifying existence like Jinchuriki. With such a scale, let alone attacking the small grass ninja village. Even if it is to attack a large ninja village like Konoha village, it is already enough. I didn't expect that Iwagakure village would take this war so seriously. The old man Onoki seemed determined to avenge the last time. Uchiha Kong frowned and said, although the Iwagakure troops are large in number, I have the reincarnation of the dirty soil. I will first send the elites of the dirty soil to resist for a while. There are a total of 7 dirt elites, all of whom are immune to death. It can be done by asking them to delay for a while. Moreover, Uchiha still has the card Danzo in his hand. Danzo is a cage-level powerhouse. Due to the hostile relationship, after Uchiha Sora reincarnated him into the dead, he has been sealed in a coffin without ever using it. This time, the 7 people from the Dirty Land will definitely not be able to resist the Iwagakure troops. Once they cannot hold on, Danzo's card can be used. Chief, the Uchiha clan invites a fight. At this time, a man came to the leader's house and knelt down on one knee in the yard and shouted. Hearing the sound outside, Uchiha walked out of the house and looked at the young man kneeling on one knee. Are you Uchiha Yu? Uchiha recognized this Uchiha tribesman. This can be regarded as the right-hand man of the clan leader Uchiha Fugaku. He is the strongest in the family besides Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sora. Now that Uchiha Fugaku is missing in the ancient city of Lulin, he may have traveled through time and space. Uchiha Itachi is in the Akatsuki organization. Uchiha is the leader and rarely manages family affairs. So now the only person in the family who can take charge of things is Uchiha Yu. He came to ask for a fight, probably on behalf of all the Uchiha ninjas currently staying in Kusakunin village. The enemy this time is extraordinary. With your current strength, you are likely to suffer heavy losses. Uchiha looked at him and said, since the incident in Konoha village, the Uchiha clan should recuperate. I personally don't want you all to go to war. Chief, now that we have joined the Grass Ninja village, we are part of the Grass Ninja village. For the honor of the Uchiha clan, we are not allowed to hide in the village and let others charge into the battle. Uchiha said in a sonorous voice. Feeling Uchiha Yu's determination, Uchiha Sora pondered for a long time, and finally nodded. Okay, I promise to let you fight. He ordered. Uchiha Yu, listen. Here, Uchiha Yu was shocked. Uchiha Yu, I now order all Uchiha clan ninjas to form a support force and go to the southern battlefield of Rain Country to provide support. Yes, Uchiha said solemnly. You, if I remember correctly, your parents should have died in the Konoha incident, right? Uchiha Kong said suddenly. Yes, Chief, Uchiha said sadly. You still have a young sister, right? Uchiha asked again. Uchiha Yu was stunned for a moment and nodded. Thinking of his sister, a hint of tenderness appeared on his face. Well, it's rare that the leader still knows these things. Uchiha took out 2 Flying Thunder God Kunai and handed them to him. Put this away. If you encounter a crisis that cannot be solved, destroy the art of one of the kunai and I will show up to support you. Chief, Uchiha was greatly moved. He didn't expect the leader to care so much about his own safety. I don't want to see your sister left unattended in the future. Uchiha waved his hand. Go ahead. Yes, Uchiha nodded heavily, put away the Flying Thunder God Kunai, and turned around to leave. Watching Uchiha Yu leave, Uchiha Kong felt a vague expectation in his heart. The Uchiha clan has been suppressed in Konoha for too long. This time they ask for a fight, and this is an opportunity for them to wash away their shame and rebuild their glory. In the battle between life and death, will the Uchiha clan awaken another pair of Mangekyo? As a result, there was not much power left in the Grass Ninja village. So next, the trouble that needs to be solved urgently is from the east side of Konoha. Nanoyu, inform the civilians in the village to evacuate in advance, and then let the people from Konoha enter the Grass Ninja village and take them to the training ground. Uchiha Kong ordered. Yes, no Nayu took the order and left. After Nanoyu left, Uchiha went directly to the Mirror Space Island. There are still 2 white Zetsu sealed there. Taking out a white Zetsu, and then taking out part of the flesh and blood of the previously killed Kakuzu, Uchiha Sora's hands began to form seals. After completing each complex hand seal, Uchiha clapped his hands on the ground. Psychic technique. Reincarnation from the dirty earth. Come out, Kakuzu. Kakuzu, who had just died, was summoned back to the present world. The body of filthy earth covered by Zetsu's body, gradually revealing Kakuzu's face. Kakuzu still has 5 masks on him. It's just that the clothes he wears are no longer the black-red cloud robe of the Akatsuki organization, but the ninja costume he wears underneath. Uchiha Sora. The moment Kakuzu regained consciousness, he saw a familiar face in front of him. Then he looked down at his dirty body again, frowned and said, I was resurrected by you. Is this the reincarnation of second Hokage? Oh, even after death, can't I escape the fate of being driven by you? Kakuzu, if you had surrendered to me before you were alive, I would not have killed you. Uchiha looked at him and said calmly. HMPH. Kakuzu snorted, obviously feeling very unhappy now. There was also a hint of regret. Okay, Kakuzu, just follow my instructions and fight. Uchiha waved his hand, sealed it in a coffin, and returned to Kusanagi village. With Kakuzu, the battle line on the Iwagakure side can be held back for a long time. Uchiha Sora also has the energy to deal with troubles from Konoha. In the Grass Ninja Village, Konoha's 100-man army marched straight in and entered the Grass Ninja Village without any obstruction. These hundreds of ninjas are all Chunin at least, and the leader is an elite Jonin like Sarutobi Asuma. When they arrived at the training ground of Kusanagi village, they only saw a figure wearing a white imperial robe sitting cross-legged on the ground in the training ground, practicing with his eyes closed. Seeing this figure, everyone in Konoha looked stern. Uchiha Sora. When many people saw him for the first time, their impression was that he was young and handsome. But no one dared to look down upon him in the slightest. Because compared to Uchiha Sora's reputation as a genius when he was in Konoha, Uchiha Sora's reputation today is even greater. He single-handedly captured the Grass Ninja Village and moved the Uchiha clan from Konoha, betraying Konoha. He even made the shocking move of killing the top brass of the Leaf Village during negotiations. Even the third Hokage can't do anything to him. At this time, Uchiha Kong, who was sitting on the ground, slowly stood up, looked at everyone in Konoha and said calmly, "Tell me your purpose." Everyone was stunned when they heard this. They didn't expect Uchiha Sora to be so direct. The leader, Asuma Kaido. Uchiha Sora, you were known as a genius when you were in Konoha, and even more so than Uchiha Itachi. All of us here this time just want to learn some genin skills from you, please. Don't be offended. Sparring ninjutsu. Is it really just a sparring? Uchiha shook his head and laughed. I'm afraid your purpose is not simple, right? Uchiha Kong could probably guess that they just wanted to take this opportunity to delay their own strength and collapse the front line of Kusanagi village. By then, they would be facing a complete defeat. At that time, Konoha village will take the initiative and make the war situation passive. Sarutobi Asuma's expression changed slightly, and he immediately said, Uchiha Sora, don't you dare to accept the challenge. I don't dare to do anything. Uchiha said calmly. It's just that I never compete with others in ninjutsu. I only kill people on the battlefield. A trace of murderous aura was released from Uchiha Kong and spread to all directions. Konoha's purpose was to hold him back under the guise of sparring, or even consume his own strength, but how could he let them get their wish? Directly release murderous intent and express attitude. Feeling the suffocating, terrifying murderous aura on Uchiha Kong's body, everyone in Konoha couldn't help but break out a drop of cold sweat on their foreheads. Sarutobi Asuma's heart tightened and he asked, Uchiha Sora, what do you mean? What do you mean? Uchiha Kong sneered. It's very simple. My ninjutsu is only released on the enemy. There is no need to discuss an exchange. If you want to become a soul under my sword, I will be happy to help. Uchiha Sora, we were once ninjas from the same village. I didn't expect you to be so unkind. Do you want to provoke a war between the ninja village and Konoha? When Asuma heard this, his heart tightened and he spoke. But he asked coldly. The threat in his words was obvious. This is their trump card. Use war to force Uchiha to compromise. This set of procedures is exactly what Union Village once used against Konoha Village. But after hearing this, Uchiha just smiled faintly, turned his back, and said calmly, I'm standing here. If any of you dare to attack me, just do it. Don't blame me if you die. The calm voice hides a powerful murderous intention. Everyone in Konoha looked shocked. Looking at his back, they felt at a loss for a moment. Asuma was secretly worried. No, the task assigned by the old man this time is to make Uchiha Kong compromise with the Leaf Village and then get benefits from him. But Uchiha was so determined that he was so determined, which really puzzled Asuma. With the current strength of Kusanagi Village, it may be possible to block Tokigakure and Omegakure, but it will definitely not be able to block Iwagakure. If Konoha is added to the mix, Kusanagi Village will definitely collapse, and Uchiha Sora will have no choice but to run away. Then the foundation he finally established in the Grass Ninja Village will disappear. Where did he get his confidence? Asuma was confused and glanced at a certain white-haired man behind him, and his impetuous heart calmed down again. No matter where Uchiha Sora's confidence comes from, he also has heavyweights on his side and must not embarrass Konoha. Thinking of this, Asuma stood up, holding Feiyin, and said to Uchiha Sky's Path, "Let me experience your power." Uchiha Kong turned around. A pair of Scarlet 3 Magatama Sharingan stared at Asuma coldly. "You have to think carefully. If you attack me, you must be prepared to die." HMPH. Asuma snorted coldly. "Uchiha Sora, you've gone too far." After saying that, Asuma rushed towards Uchiha Sora. "Captain Asuma, come on, beat him. Captain Asuma is mighty." The Konoha ninjas behind him were waving flags and shouting. However, at this time, in Uchiha's empty eyes, the Scarlet 3 Magatama Sharingan turned slightly. He glared at Asuma. The next second, Asuma's forward body suddenly stopped in place. Then, he found himself pulled into a strange genjutsu space. The genjutsu space is a black and white world, with only a pair of scarlet Sharingan high in the sky emitting a strange red light. "It's genjutsu." Asuma screamed inwardly that something was wrong, and formed a seal with his hands to condense the chakra. He shouted with all his strength, "Excuse me. But the surroundings are still a black and white environment, without any change." At this time, Uchiha appeared in front of Asuma holding a long sword. Asuma was about to take action, but found that her body was floating uncontrollably, her arms were spread out, and her body was tightly bound by a cross. He struggled hard, but found that he couldn't break free at all. "This is just genjutsu. Uchiha Sora, do you think you can defeat me with this?" Asuma shouted. He is no stranger to the power of genjutsu. It is nothing more than genjutsu. As long as you have a firm belief in your heart, you will not be affected by genjutsu. Uchiha Kong smiled lightly and said, "This is not an ordinary genjutsu, this genjutsu is called Tsukuyomi. Have a good experience." After saying that, Uchiha raised the sword in his hand and stabbed Asuma in the abdomen. "Ah!" Asuma immediately let out a cry of pain. The pain of being stabbed into his body by the sword was even more intense than reality. What's going on? How can genjutsu feel such real pain? He didn't have time to think about it, because several Uchiha Kong suddenly appeared around him, holding long swords and piercing his body from various angles. "Ah!" Asuma couldn't help but scream. The pain of being pierced by so many long swords made him break into a cold sweat. "Is it over?" Asuma raised his head and stared at Uchiha Sora, thankful that he had withstood this wave of attacks. "My willpower was still very firm, and I did not faint from the pain." "Haha, don't worry, it's only been a second," Uchiha said calmly. "What, just a second?" Asuma exclaimed. The pain caused by so many swords piercing the body just now, actually only lasted for a second. Then, how long will it take? Cold sweat broke out on Asuma's forehead. As if answering the question in Asuma's mind, Uchiha Sora said slowly, "Next, you will spend 71 hours, 59 minutes and 59 seconds here. You cannot be unconscious." Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Asuma's pupils shrank. "Are you kidding?" But Uchiha Kong didn't give him any time to think anymore. Once again, countless long swords pierced his body from various angles. "Ah! Ah!" Asuma's screams continued to echo in the genjutsu space. For a full 72 hours, 3 days and 3 nights, Asuma felt what pain and suffering it was. And in the outside world, all the Konoha ninjas just paused when they saw Asuma's forward body. In almost a second, he suddenly fell to the ground with a thud, unconscious. "Captain Asuma!" The Konoha ninjas suddenly let out a series of exclamations, and they all looked at this scene in disbelief. Captain Asuma is also an elite Jonin of Konoha village. He is even one of the 12 guardian ninjas. Such a strong man can be ranked high even in Konoha. But he didn't expect that he was hit by genjutsu just by looking at him, and he was killed instantly. How can this be? Although the Sharingan of the Uchiha Sora clan is naturally good at genjutsu, the gap is not that big, right? A genjutsu knocks down an elite jonin. What is this ability? Everyone was shocked and frightened. At this moment, Uchiha drew his long sword and stabbed Asuma on the ground in the heart. Not good. Only then did everyone react and realize what Uchiha Sora said before, that he really knows how to kill. The cold sword stabbed straight at Asuma, and suddenly, a hand grabbed Uchiha Sora's wrist. The blade of the long sword was only a few centimeters away from Asuma's body and stopped halfway. Uchiha Kong raised his head, looked at the figure blocking him, and curled his lips. Did you finally take action? Jiraiya-senpai. The person holding his palm in front of him was tall, wearing a red coat and wooden clogs, with long waist-length white hair and red marks under his eyes. It's none other than Jiraiya, one of the Sannin. Boy, you've gone too far. Let's stop it. Jiraiya looked at Uchiha Sora with a serious expression and warned. What? It's Lord Jiraiya. When everyone in Konoha saw Jiraiya's appearance, they were all shocked and exclaimed. Before coming to the Grass Ninja Village, they didn't know that Jiraiya, one of the Sannin, was also on the team. The reason why the third Hokage sent people to the Grass Ninja Village to carry out this mission was because Jiraiya's appearance gave him the confidence. As for the fact that Jiraiya was hiding in the team, only Asuma, who was leading the team, knew about it. Previously, Jiraiya used a simple transformation technique to hide among everyone, just to ensure that this mission was foolproof. Unexpectedly, Asuma was so useless that he fell down and almost died at the hands of Uchiha Sora, so Jiraiya couldn't help but show up to stop him. Uchiha Kong had already guessed that there would be important people hiding in the team, and after meeting these people, his Sharingan immediately discovered Jiraiya disguised with the transformation technique. Stabbing Asuma with the sword was also done deliberately to force Jiraiya out. Of course, if Jiraiya stopped him, Uchiha Sora wouldn't mind directly killing the original character Asuma. At this time, after hearing Jiraiya's warning, Uchiha Kong just smiled faintly and formed a seal with one hand. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Jiraiya was shocked. Sizzle. I saw a dazzling thunder light suddenly shining on Uchiha Sora's other palm, and it stabbed towards Jiraiya. Lightning style Reikiri. And it's still a one-handed seal. Jiraiya hurriedly let go of his hand, and at the same time dwarfed his body. While avoiding the attack, he picked up Asuma and stepped away. This set of movements is smooth, worthy of being one of the experienced Sannin. After handing the unconscious Asuma to the Konoha ninja, Jiraiya looked at Uchiha Sora with a solemn expression. I didn't expect you to be able to form seals with one hand. That move is Kakashi's Reikiri, right? No wonder the third-generation old man said it's not easy to have a headache even when I remember you. Seeing you reminds me of my apprentice who became the fourth Hokage. Unfortunately, he passed away young, otherwise, he would never let you leave Konoha, in spite of. Jiraiya-senpai, thank you. Uchiha said calmly. Once your strength reaches a certain level, it is not difficult to form a seal with one hand. Looking at Uchiha Sora's calm face, Jiraiya couldn't help but frown and said, Uchiha Sora, do you know that what you have done in the past has triggered the fuse of the war, and the ninja world is no longer peaceful? Countless people will be caught in the flames of war. Occupy the Kingdom of Grass, lead the Uchiha clan to betray Konoha, kill Konoha senior officials, and play with the souls of the dead. Every one of these things has brought serious consequences. You have reached the point where you are surrounded by enemies on all sides. Don't you have any regrets? Jiraiya's words are heartbreaking. From the perspective of peace in the ninja world, Uchiha Kong seems to have really become the trigger that triggered everything. It is the source of evil. But, is that really the case? Repentance. Uchiha Sora couldn't help but laugh after hearing Jiraiya's remarks. Why are you laughing? Jiraiya snorted. I laugh at you for being so naive. You have experienced the second ninja war and the third ninja war, but you are still full of unrealistic ideas. It is simply stupid. Uchiha sneered. This world without true peace, strife will never stop as long as there are people. Hearing this, Jiraiya frowned and said dissatisfied, Boy, your words are too pessimistic. I believe that one day, this world will enter an era where people understand each other. Oh, do you believe it's useful? You can't change the reality in front of you, and you can't even change your friend Orochimaru. Uchiha said calmly. Jiraiya shuddered and his pupils couldn't help but shrink. You kid. Jiraiya was a little embarrassed when he was poked at the center of things. The bond between him and Orochimaru was one of the two things he regretted most. I didn't expect Uchiha Sora to know such a secret. He snorted angrily. There will always be people who lead changes in the ninja world in the future. I came here to see you this time to confirm this matter, but now it seems that you are not the one who can bring changes to the ninja world. Quote. Really, what a pity. I don't care what happens to the ninja world. I'm not a person of change either. Uchiha said calmly. Uchiha Kong, you disappoint me so much. Jiraiya shook his head and sighed. A genius like you is far from the will of Hokage. You have Konoha's ninjutsu, but you don't have Konoha's will of fire. What an irony. Uchiha waved his hands in vain, feeling helpless. Whatever you think, this boring conversation ends here. It's useless to say more. Next, is Jiraiya-senpai going to take action against me? Jiraiya looked stern and exuded an amazing aura. The atmosphere instantly became tense. The powerful breath made the air seem to solidify. Uchiha Kong's eyes were indifferent, and he remained motionless in the face of Jiraiya's momentum, as steady as a mountain. Although Jiraiya is strong, under normal circumstances, he is only a relatively strong Kage level, and has no deterrent effect on Uchiha Sora. Only Sage Mode can make Uchiha Sora afraid. Uchiha Sora, powerful ninjas only need to fight each other once to understand each other's thoughts. Let me see your will, Uchiha Sora. Jiraiya said slowly. As soon as he finished speaking, Jiraiya formed a seal with his hands and directly released a ninjutsu. Earth-style yellow Kwanuma. The ground beneath Uchiha Sora's feet collapsed instantly, turning into a soft quagmire. The battle is about to begin. Uchiha Sora had already noticed Jiraiya's ninjutsu, and before the ground beneath his feet turned into a quagmire, he had already jumped high into the sky to avoid Jiraiya's ninjutsu. Jiraiya raised his hand and shot out several kunai, followed by a fire bomb ejected from his mouth, attacking Uchiha Sora in midair. After Uchiha swung his long sword and easily blocked the kunai, the flame bomb was already approaching and was almost impossible to avoid. Jiraiya has been traveling in the ninja world all year round and has more combat experience than the other two Sannin. Simple ninjutsu, released in his hands, makes people unable to avoid it. But Uchiha Sora didn't panic at all. As soon as his mind moved, his figure disappeared under the flame bombs. When it appeared again, it had landed in another location on the training ground. If you look carefully, you will see that Flying Thunder God Kunai has been inserted into multiple locations on the training ground. The entire training ground has long become a battlefield for Uchiha Sora. This is the advantage of playing at home. Uchiha Sora asked everyone in Konoha to come to this training ground to meet and exchange ninjutsu. Naturally, he would not make any preparations. It's the Flying Thunder God technique. Jiraiya focused his eyes, looked at Uchiha Sora, and said solemnly, "You have actually practiced the Flying Thunder God technique to this extent. You must know that the Flying Thunder God technique is not something that ordinary people can practice. Since the second Hokage first created it, only the fourth Hokage Nam Feng Shui Gate has completely mastered it. Even Jiraiya himself cannot master such profound ninjutsu. Even if you barely learn a little bit, you can't apply it in battle at all. And Uchiha Sora's proficiency in the Flying Thunder God technique is probably no less than that of the creator's second Hokage." Jiraiya, who knew that the Flying Thunder God's technique was terrifying, suddenly felt tremendous pressure. At this time, Uchiha Kong had already raised his sword and rushed towards Jiraiya. He made a seal with one hand. Bang bang, two shadow clone appeared beside them, each dancing their long swords and leaping high, and slashed towards Jiraiya together with their bodies. Konohagakure, Dance of the Three Crescent Moon. Three sharply angled sword slashes landed on Jiraiya almost in the blink of an eye. Boom, Jiraiya's body turned into white smoke and disappeared. Also a shadow clone. Ninja technique. The technique of random lion's hair. Suddenly, Jiraiya's voice came from the side of Uchiha Sora. I saw long white hair flying towards Uchiha. Uchiha moved left and right, dodging one by one with Sharingan's insight. Jiraiya controlled the long hair but kept pursuing. While dodging, Uchiha observed from the corner of his eye that the flying thunder god kunai that he had placed in various positions in advance were all destroyed by Jiraiya's long hair. Is attacking me just a show? The real intention is to destroy my coordinates. Uchiha raised the corner of his mouth. As expected of Jiraiya, that's what makes it interesting. Uchiha Sora allowed him to destroy his coordinates. It wasn't until almost all the flying thunder god kunai disappeared on the training ground that Jiraiya stopped his offensive. Uchiha Kong then said, "You have destroyed all the coordinates here. Do you think you have achieved your goal?" Jiraiya pulled back his long hair. "Since you have noticed my intention, why don't you stop me?" "Because it suddenly occurred to me that head-on combat can bring me pleasure," Uchiha replied. "An opponent like you is very rare for me." "Are you crazy about fighting?" Jiraiya snorted coldly. Uchiha Kong smiled slightly and did not explain. Because he has long known that in addition to daily practice, only when he feels pressure in battle can the system's automatic practice function be stimulated. Maybe he can inspire the automatic cultivation of the system through the battle with Jiraiya. So he made a temporary decision to try not to use the flying thunder god to dodge in the next battle. "Good boy, your arrogance will make you pay the price." Jiraiya snorted coldly, formed a seal with his hands, and opened his mouth to spit out a huge fireball. Fire-style big fire bomb. A huge flame bomb mixed with fire oil completely enveloped the Uchiha sky. Psychic Rashomon. Seeing that the big fire bullet was about to fall on him, Uchiha clapped his hands on the ground. A huge metal ghost gate rose from the ground, blocking him. Boom! The large flame bomb hit Rashomon, causing a violent roar and explosion. The immense power made Rashomon creak. The air waves set off spread wildly in all directions, causing the Konoha ninjas who were watching the battle to raise their arms and block them in front of them. The fight between the two made everyone in Konoha stunned, and they found that they could not intervene in such a battle. Jiraiya is one of the Sannin, he is powerful and everyone is mentally prepared. But the power shown by Uchiha Kong was no weaker than Jiraiya, which puzzled everyone. All things considered, Uchiha Sora is only over 12 years old now, and at most he is 13 years old. Still a child, he actually competed with Jiraiya. He didn't fall behind. The ninjutsu of the two dispersed. Jiraiya stared at Uchiha Sora's figure with a solemn expression. At this time, Uchiha Kong had already raised his sword and rushed towards Jiraiya. The blade of the sword shone with dazzling lightning. Jiraiya didn't dare to confront Uchiha Sora's sword head-on, so he could only dodge, keep retreating, and look for opportunities to fight back. The two men advanced and retreated, fighting wildly, which dazzled everyone. Rasengan. Jiraiya spotted Uchiha Sora's flaw, raised his hand and fired a Rasengan, hitting Uchiha Sora's abdomen. Rasengan. I can do it too. Uchiha Kong also condensed the Rasengan with his backhand, and pressed it towards Jiraiya's Rasengan. Boom! Two Rasengans of the same size collided violently, and an astonishing amount of energy exploded, setting off a violent wind. Jiraiya was slightly surprised, he didn't expect Uchiha Sora to be able to Rasengan. Not only that, he also discovered that Uchiha Sora's Rasengan was not an ordinary Rasengan, and seemed to be more powerful than his own. No, his Rasengan is more powerful than mine. Jiraiya was shocked. He hurriedly outputs more chakra to maintain his own Rasengan and resist Uchiha Sora's Rasengan. Rumble. Finally, their bodies flew backwards under the collision of this powerful energy. The two stood still. Jiraiya looked at his trembling palms and was shocked. Why is this guy's Rasengan more powerful than mine? This is impossible. How could there be such a big difference in power between Rasengans of the same size? This puzzled him. But Uchiha Sora is much more relaxed. In the Rasengan fight, he will naturally not suffer a loss, because he has the talent increase of damage multiplication, so he doesn't panic at all when facing waves. Boy, where did you learn Rasengan from? When the smoke cleared, Jiraiya looked at Uchiha Sora and couldn't help but ask. Rasengan was invented by the 4th Hokage. After the 4th Hokage died, he should be the only one to control it. Moreover, the ninjutsu of Rasengan is not recorded in the ninjutsu scrolls, so where did Uchiha Sora learn it? Is Rasengan difficult? Uchiha Sora asked with a faint smile. Jiraiya frowned. Uchiha can control the flying thunder god, so it doesn't seem surprising that he can create his own Rasengan. But he always felt that things were not that simple. The existence of Uchiha Sora seems very unreasonable. In that case, I won't be merciful anymore. Jiraiya bit his finger and clapped his hands on the ground. Psychic art. Boom. Huge white smoke rose. A huge crimson toad appeared on the scene. The toad is wearing a short coat, a bandage around his waist, a giant short sword stuck in his mouth, and a pipe in his mouth. It's none other than Gamabunta. Jiraiya, I'm drinking tea. Why did you summon me? Gamabunta took a puff of the flue in displeasure. Gamabunta, who was as huge as a tailed beast, brought a great sense of oppression to everyone, and everyone in Konoha was frightened to see it. But also extremely envious. Is this Lord Jiraiya's psychic beast? It's so domineering. Yes, the legendary Sannin, everyone can summon such a huge psychic beast, and it is invincible on the battlefield. Powerful psychic beasts can bring great help to ninjas. In particular, Sannin's psychic beast is not only huge in size, but also relies on the 3 holy places behind it and has its own unique heritage. After Gamabunta appeared, Jiraiya jumped up to Bunta's head, pointed at Uchiha Sora below, and explained, although I don't want to bully a junior, the opponent's strength cannot be underestimated. Bunta, you use oil. I want to cover the entire training ground. Oh, Jiraiya, it doesn't seem easy for this guy to be praised like this by you. Gamabunta narrowed his eyes and looked at Uchiha Sora on the ground. In his eyes, Uchiha Sora was just a little guy, but Jiraiya's the evaluation made him pay attention to it. Psychic beast. Uchiha Kong frowned. He doesn't have a psychic beast. Although he can summon people reincarnated from the dirt to serve as helpers, it's not necessary for him at all. At this time, Toadbunta took a deep breath, gathered a large mouthful of toad oil into his mouth, and spat it forward. At the same time, Jiraiya used fire style, and the flames burned rapidly along the toad oil. In an instant, a raging fire broke out, and the entire training ground where Uchiha Sora was enveloped. Toad oil fire bomb. This move has an extremely wide range and is extremely powerful. Uchiha Sora is almost impossible to dodge. But he doesn't need to dodge either. Facing the raging sea of fire, the 3 Magatama Sharingan in Uchiha Sora's eyes quickly rotated and instantly turned into the Mangekyo pattern of a 6-pointed star array. Mangekyo Sharingan is on. Faced with such a powerful attack as the Toad Oil Flame Bomb, if Fei Lei Shen doesn't have to dodge it, he can only find a way to defend it. At present, Uchiha Kong's most powerful defense method is naturally Mangekyo's ability. Powerful eye power bursts out from Mangekyo. In the space in front of Uchiha Sora, invisible and transparent barriers suddenly appeared. Barriers form a square space that completely envelops his body. Exactly one of his Mangekyo abilities. The divine realm of heaven Duan Kong. The power of breaking the sky can defend against almost all attacks. After the tsunami-like sea of fire collided with the barriers, it seemed as if it had encountered an invisible iron wall, unable to shake it at all. The sea of fire was separated by barriers and surged toward both sides. The entire training ground was covered in flames. But Uchiha Sora, who was standing behind the barriers, was unscathed. Even under the barrier of the barriers, not even a trace of heat wave could penetrate. The sea of fire finally dissipated, gradually revealing Uchiha Sora's figure. When Jiraiya saw Uchiha standing there intact, he couldn't help but look shocked. This guy is unscathed, Gamabunta shouted in surprise. Then he couldn't help but lift up the short sword and slashed at Uchiha Sora on the ground. At this time, the space barriers have not dissipated, and the short sword slashed hard on the space barriers, and the barriers did not move at all. A ripple of space rippled out. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes. When he saw this scene, he couldn't help but said in shock, that seems to be a space-time barriers type of defense. What a tough defense. Gamabunta retracted the short sword unwillingly and stared at Uchiha Sora on the ground. The 6-pointed star array Mangekyo in Uchiha Kong's eyes rotated slightly, emitting a strange light. He looked at Jiraiya and Bunta and slowly said, "Is this the only level you have? Sannin's power disappoints me too much. Jiraiya, you seem to be despised." Gamabunta laughed. Jiraiya pondered. If I don't use that mode, I really can't do anything to him now. Oh, it seems you are going to use your real skills, Gamabunta said. To be honest, I don't want to use that mode. After all, there are many people here, and I don't want them to see that ugly look in front of so many people. Jiraiya said helplessly. In comparison, it would be more embarrassing for you to be defeated by a junior, right? Gamabunta said. Jiraiya thought for a moment and finally said, there is no other choice but to prepare to enter Sage Mode. After saying that, Jiraiya bit his finger again, and 2 puffs of white smoke came out. 2 small old toads appeared in front of Jiraiya. It was none other than the elders Fukasaku Sennin and Shima Sennin of Mount Myoboku. Hey, little Jiraiya. After the 2 toads appeared, they greeted Jiraiya one after another. Then they saw the Uchiha Sora, who was obviously hostile at the scene. Shima Sennin said, is that guy from the Uchiha clan? Little Jiraiya, did you summon us because you wanted to use Sage Mode on that child? Quote. Jiraiya smiled bitterly and said, yes, that is no ordinary child. Not only did he learn the Flying Thunder God technique like the 4th Hokage, but he also opened the Mangekyo Sharingan, which has unfathomable strength. I see, that's really a surprising talent. This child seems to be even better than Orochimaru. Fukasaku Sage said with emotion. Well, so I asked the 2 immortals and Bunta to help me delay for a while. I will enter Sage Mode later and merge with the 2 immortals. Jiraiya said. Okay, no problem, little Jiraiya, just concentrate on your natural energy. The 2 elder toads responded. After saying that, the 2 big toads attacked Uchiha from the air. Their attack method is very simple, that is, they stick out a long tongue from their mouth and turn it into a whip to attack Uchiha Sora's body. At the same time, Gamabunta kept slashing at Uchiha Sora with the short sword. At this time, Uchiha Sora had already removed the barriers. Faced with the siege of the 3 toads, he dodged calmly and was not in a hurry to attack Jiraiya. After all, the speed of psychic beasts is not as flexible as humans. Although the 3 toads cooperated very well, they could not hurt Uchiha's hair. After the 3 toads attacked for a while, Fukasaku Sennin discovered the clue and said, old lady, this guy didn't fight back against little Jiraiya. What was he thinking? Huh, that's quite strange to say. Is he deliberately waiting for little Jiraiya to complete Sage Mode? Shima Sennin said in surprise. It seems that this kid is confident. Fukasaku Sennin said, temporarily stopping the attack. Shima Sen and Bunta also stopped their movements and confronted Uchiha Sora. Seeing that the opponent had stopped attacking, Uchiha Sora also stopped and stood there with his arms folded, quietly waiting for Jiraiya's Sage Mode to be completed. Seeing Uchiha Sora waiting quietly, the 3 toads finally confirmed Uchiha Sora's thoughts. Boy, you will pay for your arrogance. Shima Sennin couldn't help shouting. Uchiha smiled lightly and ignored it. His Sharingan was observing Jiraiya's body. At this time, Jiraiya was sitting cross-legged on the ground, with a large amount of natural energy gathering around his body. Uchiha can't observe the flow of natural energy from the outside world, but he can see the flow of chakra on Jiraiya's body. Although he cannot see as clearly as Byakugan, Mangekyo's insight is not bad. Jiraiya's chakra combines natural energy and the process of rapid growth, he can see clearly. Is this powerful chakra as vast as the abyss, the Sage Jutsu chakra? Uchiha Sora thought to himself as he felt the chakra fluctuations on Jiraiya's body. At this moment, Jiraiya finally stood up. Immortal facial makeup appeared on his face. Not only that, his eyes also turned into toad eyes, his nose was also covered with pimples, and a white beard grew on his chin. Sage Mode, finally completed. Fukasaku Sennin and Shima Sennin jumped onto Jiraiya's shoulders and became one with him. This is the final state of Sage Mode. Gamabunta couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw Jiraiya entering this mode. Victory is decided. In this state, no ninja can be Jiraiya's opponent. At this time, Jiraiya exuded a powerful aura. In Sage Mode, his figure seemed to have become taller and burlier. The strange appearance of 2 great toad sages fused together made people feel awe. The Konoha ninjas who were watching the battle couldn't help but exclaimed. Jiraiya-sama turned out to be like this. However, I feel so strong. Yes, I have heard that the legendary Sage Jutsu is spread in the 3 holy places. It turns out that this is Sage Jutsu. I can see the Sage Jutsu inheritance in the holy places with my own eyes. I have no regrets in this life. This is the true essence of Sannin. The aura alone makes people feel intimidated. Haha, Lord Jiraiya is so powerful. Defeat Sora Uchiha. Amidst the cheers of everyone, Jiraiya slowly walked towards Uchiha Kong, and he said, "Boy, my strength in this state is completely different from before. You have to be careful, don't accidentally get caught. I beat him to death." A powerful aura emanated from Jiraiya. Uchiha felt the powerful aura emanating from the Sage Jutsu Chakra, with an expectant look on his face. "Let me see how powerful you are under Sage mode." "As you wish," Jiraiya murmured. Whoosh! With a kick of his feet, Jiraiya rushed in front of Uchiha Sora at an incredible speed. What a fast speed! Uchiha Sora was slightly startled. Jiraiya in Sage mode has an extremely terrifying increase in physical skills. He was originally a Kage-level player, but with the increase in Sage Jutsu Chakra, his body moved as fast as if he had turned on the 8 Gates armor. Even Uchiha, who was driving the Mangekyo Sharingan in the air, had a powerful insight far beyond the ordinary Sharingan, but at this moment, he was somewhat unable to adapt to Jiraiya's sudden increase in speed. However, fortunately, Uchiha Kong's own physique is much stronger than ordinary ninjas due to continuous automatic training. Even with Jiraiya's sudden increase in speed, his body could barely keep up with the opponent's speed. Seeing Jiraiya's kick coming, Uchiha Kong quickly raised his hands to block the kick. Boom! There was a muffled sound, and a huge force hit Uchiha Sora's arm. The force that was like Tsunade's strange power hit, Uchiha Sora was unable to stand firm on his feet, his arms were numb from the shock, and his body was pushed back by this huge force. After retreating dozens of meters, Uchiha Kong put down his slightly numb hands and looked at Jiraiya's figure excitedly. It is truly a Sage mode. The speed is comparable to 8 Gates Dungeon. The power is comparable to Kylie. Uchiha Kong has always used his speed advantage to crush his enemies, and then use various ninjutsu to solve his opponents. But this time, after a head-on confrontation with Jiraiya in Sage mode, I just felt my blood boiling all over. Ding dong. Feeling the host surging blood, your 8 Gates Dunjia has automatically reached the 5th gate. Ding dong. The first time you fought against Sage mode, your physique was deeply touched and further evolved automatically towards the human body of Hashirama Sen. The speed is accelerated. Estimated completion time, 3 years. Ding dong. Your normal immortal body means that as long as you continue to fight Sage mode, there is a chance that you will automatically learn Mount Myoboku Sage mode. 3 system prompts in a row shocked Uchiha Sora, followed by great joy. Sure enough, using this method to stimulate it can cause the system to sound a prompt. And even 3 reminders came at once. This was simply beyond Uchiha Sora's expectations. The 8 Gates Dunjia, which had been progressing slowly, suddenly reached the 5th gate automatically. The body of Hashirama Senshi that originally took 5 years to complete was shortened to 3 years. Not to mention, there is a chance that your immortal body will learn Mount Myoboku Sage mode. System. So awesome. Uchiha was pleasantly surprised. The eyes he looked at Jiraiya were full of fighting spirit. In that case, let's try the power of 8 Gates Dunjia. Whispering, Uchiha Sora began to accumulate power. Although he has never exercised his body properly, this body has already become different through automatic cultivation, and his physique is much stronger than that of ordinary ninjas. Even a professional taijutsu ninja might not have as solid a foundation as Uchiha Sora. In his mind, according to the operation method of 8 Gates Dunjia, Uchiha opened the doors in his body one by one. The first gate, Gate of Opening. Open. The second gate, Gate of Healing. Open. The third gate, Gate of Life. Open. At this time, green chakra energy began to evaporate from Uchiha Kong's body, and veins appeared on his forehead. This is the last safe zone of Dunjia in 8 gates. And next, Uchiha Sora continues to open up the limitations of the body. The fourth gate, Gate of Pain. Open. At this time, he had truly entered the 8 gates Dunjia state. The fifth gate, Gate of Limit. Open. When the fifth door was opened, Uchiha Kong's skin had become congested and red, and powerful chakra aura erupted from his body. This energy shocked the Konoha ninjas around them to retreat. Oh my god, he actually knows 8 gates Dunjia. Is this guy a monster? What a powerful chakra. It looks even more exaggerated than that guy from Metkai. Unlike Akai, the amount of chakra in Uchiha Kong's body is much greater than his, and his own strength is at the Kage level. In the original work, Mad Dai used the power of Genin to open the 8 gates and was able to kill and maim 7 people. Akai uses the power of Elite Jonin to open the 8 gates and can kick 6 paths Madara to pieces. Uchiha Sora is a cage level, and if the 8 gates are fully opened, the momentum generated may be even more exaggerated than Akai. Even though he only opened 5 doors, his speed and strength have also been greatly improved. At this moment, Uchiha Sora's 8 gates armor opened, and the powerful energy from his body shook the ground of the training ground with huge cracks. The strong winds whipped up were like individual sea-level wind escape ninjutsu, sweeping away in all directions indiscriminately. Everyone in Konoha was blown back, with their arms in front of their faces and their eyes filled with fear. Jiraiya also showed a dignified look in his eyes under Sage Mode. The Fukusaku Sennin and Shima Sennin on his shoulders couldn't help but sigh. Little Jiraiya, this guy actually masters such a dangerous forbidden technique. You have to be careful. Of course, Jiraiya understands the power of the 8 Gates dungeon. The full power of the 8 Gates can be used as an absolute trump card of Konoha village, causing any invading enemy to die. He didn't expect that a ninjutsu-type ninja like Uchiha Sora could also master this forbidden taijutsu. This kid is crazier than Orochimaru. Ninjutsu, genjutsu, taijutsu. It seems that each of them has reached the extreme. It's really scary, Jiraiya secretly thought in his heart, and at the same time he was on guard, staring at Uchiha Sora. Suddenly, Uchiha Sora's body disappeared from Jiraiya's sight. The next second, Uchiha Sora appeared in front of Jiraiya. The speed was so fast that Jiraiya in Sage Mode actually felt a little dazed. Oops! Jiraiya hurriedly raised his hands in front of him. At this time, Uchiha punched out with a powerful chakra arrogance, hitting Jiraiya's hand hard. Boom! There was a muffled sound, but this time it was Jiraiya's turn to be punched away. His body was stretched tens of meters away on the training ground, and the clothes on his arms were blown to pieces by this punch. The beaten red skin underneath was exposed. This speed is comparable to the Flying Thunder God. And it's a Flying Thunder God that doesn't need a mark, Jiraiya said with a solemn look on his face. When he was thinking about how to fight back, Uchiha suddenly appeared in front of him again. Little Jiraiya, the two immortals reminded him loudly. Jiraiya's Sage Mode amplification was also extremely strong. After reacting, he raised his hand and pushed forward, shouting, Sage Art Super Big Ball Rasengan. A giant Rasengan with a diameter of 2 to 3 meters appeared under Jiraiya's palm and pushed towards Uchiha. This is offense as defense. The powerful power of Sage Art hit Uchiha Sora's body in an instant. Uchiha Sora's attack slowed down and he dodged back. The next moment, his figure appeared behind Jiraiya again. Jiraiya had no choice but to withdraw the Sage Art Massive Rasengan and turn around to block. Fortunately, the perception ability in Sage Mode is extremely strong. Although Uchiha Sora is fast, Jiraiya can still react. Boom! There was another muffled sound. Uchiha kicked Jiraiya's hand and kicked him away. Before Jiraiya could hit the ground, Uchiha's empty figure flashed again, appeared next to Jiraiya, and punched him again. Jiraiya was in midair and could not fight back at all. He could only try his best to block Uchiha Sora's attack. As a result, everyone in Konoha saw that Jiraiya, who had turned on Sage Mode, was being beaten back and forth by Uchiha in midair like a sandbag. The air waves generated by the collision between the two sides set off gusts of wind, and the movements were dazzling and dizzying. However, although Jiraiya in Sage Mode is no longer as fast as Uchiha Sora of the 5th Gate of 8 Gates Dunkai, his body's ability to withstand beatings is still very strong. After being hit by Uchiha Sora for several minutes, when Jiraiya fell to the ground, except for some damage to his clothes, he did not suffer any major injuries. The increase in Sage Mode is very comprehensive. The 5th Gate of 8 Gates Dunjia is still a bit underdeveloped. Only by opening the 6th gate can you completely crush the opponent in physical skills. Uchiha Kong temporarily put away his offensive and stood there, feeling his current 8 gates armor-defying state while lost in thought. After Jiraiya fell back to the ground, he couldn't help but feel a little frightened. Although he barely managed to defend against Uchiha Sora's physical attacks, he was beaten one-sided almost the whole time, which was really embarrassing. After entering Sage Mode, this was the first time he was so passive. At this time, He breathed a sigh of relief and finally had the opportunity to form a seal to release ninjutsu. Jiraiya suddenly lay down on the ground, and the long hair behind him suddenly stood up like a hedgehog, and countless fine senbon burst out from it, forming a large attack like raindrops. Sage Art thousands of wool needles. This is Jiraiya's fastest technique with the widest attack range. Countless thousands of copies were fired at Uchiha empty like machine guns. Even Uchiha Sora, who was in the Eight Gates dungeon state, was constantly dodged by this large continuous attack. His body kept flashing around the training ground, but those thousands of books followed him like a shadow, giving him no chance to breathe. The Eight Gates dungeon state is only applicable to taijutsu. In this violent chakra state, it is impossible to perform ninjutsu, and even the Sharingan cannot be maintained. On the contrary, it greatly limits my ability to respond. Uchiha Kong immediately analyzed the Eight Gates dungeon state. Disadvantages. Even the art of Flying Thunder God, which does not require sealing, is restricted. Because the performance of any ninjutsu requires a unique chakra operation method, Muji ninjutsu still has the rules of chakra operation. After the Eight Gates dungeon broke out, the chakra was in a violent state and was very chaotic and disorderly. It was impossible to control this powerful and violent chakra, and it was impossible to perform any ninjutsu genjutsu. Of course, this state also has advantages, that is, the violent chakra can invalidate genjutsu, which means it can be immune to almost all genjutsu. But for Uchiha Sora, Eight Gates genjutsu immunity ability is very useless, because he himself has the ability to be immune to genjutsu. Thinking of this, Uchiha Kong decisively withdrew from the Eight Gates armor state. As soon as the door in the body is closed, the chakra in the body immediately returns to calm, but the increase in body speed and strength also disappears instantly. Facing the overwhelming Mao Zhensenbon, Uchiha Sora did not choose to use the Flying Thunder God to dodge. Instead, he crossed his arms in front of him and endured countless thousands of books. In the blink of an eye, Uchiha Sora was transformed into a hedgehog. Ding dong! You have withstood the power of Sage Art Mao Needle Senbon, and your body is one step closer to understanding Mount Myoboku Sage Mode. The voice of the system came from my mind. Uchiha Kong was overjoyed. His body fell to the ground, and the pain from the needles all over his body was worth it. His body shook, and after all the hair needles on his body flew out, he looked at the blood that was constantly flowing out of his body. Uchiha Sora couldn't help but laugh. I haven't felt this hurt in a long time. Ever since he learned the art of Flying Thunder God, he seemed to have stopped bleeding. So much so that Uchiha Kong forgot what his own blood tasted like. He stuck out his tongue and licked the blood flowing from his arm. The diamond-shaped mark on Uchiha Sora's forehead glowed brightly. Yin seal. Unravel. He made a seal with one hand, and the lines of the yin seal spread from his forehead to his cheeks. Ninja art creation and rebirth. I saw countless bloody holes poked into Uchiha Kong's body, and they were all healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, his injuries recovered as before. Jiraiya's eyes narrowed. That's Tsunade's technique. This kid not only mastered the yin seal, but also learned Tsunade's medical ninjutsu. In fact, he had already thought of this when he saw the diamond-shaped mark on Uchiha Sora's forehead. At this time, when he saw Uchiha Sora using the same technique as Tsunade, he felt hard to understand. What does this guy have to do with Tsunade? I must find Tsunade and ask clearly next time. Come again. Uchiha laughed as he recovered from his injuries. He believed that as long as he continued to fight Jiraiya, he would be able to automatically master Mount Myoboku's Sage Mode soon. Little Jiraiya, this kid has Tsunade's skills. It seems that this will be a protracted battle. Fukasaku Sage analyzed. Yes, Tsunade's abilities are too tricky. As long as his chakra is not exhausted, it will be difficult to truly defeat him. Jiraiya nodded. Shima Sennin said. Little Jiraiya, then consumption, are you afraid of him? Don't forget that you have us, your Sage Mode has no time limit, we can always help you refine Sage Jutsu Chakra. Jiraiya nodded. Although his mastery of Sage Mode is not perfect, after merging with the two immortals, he does not need to worry about consumption. There is a steady stream of Sage Jutsu Chakra for him to squander. He is not afraid at all of the expense. So, the two then entered a war of attrition. After Uchiha opened the Yin Seal, he was not afraid of getting hurt at all and kept fighting with Jiraiya. The two of them were fighting hard. Although Uchiha Sora's taijutsu was far inferior to that of Jiraiya in Sage Mode, he never tired of competing with him in taijutsu. Swordsmanship Whirlwind, Swordsmanship Thunder Crack, Swordsmanship Fire Slash. One after another, the slashes failed. Suddenly, Jiraiya slapped Uchiha Sora's sword with his palm. Bang! A crisp sound. The long sword was actually broken into two pieces. At the moment the sword shattered, the voice of the system sounded in Uchiha Kong's mind. Ding dong! Through your fierce battle, your body finally realized the power of Sage Mode, and the automatic cultivation was successful. Mount Myoboku perfected Sage Mode. The moment the system sound sounded, countless profound natural principles poured into Uchiha Sora's mind. Almost instantly, Uchiha Sora mastered the essence of Mount Myoboku Sage Mode. That's it. This is Sage Mode. Uchiha Sora, who had a deep understanding of Sage Mode, could not help but curl up with a happy smile. Boom! After Jiraiya smashed the long sword with one palm, the strength of his palm did not decrease at all, and he continued to smash towards Uchiha Sora. At this time, Uchiha Kong actually closed his eyes. Facing Jiraiya's swift and violent palm, he seemed to turn a blind eye. This guy, what are you thinking? A trace of doubt flashed across Jiraiya's face when he saw this. But the strength of his palm did not decrease at all, and he continued to slap Uchiha Sora on the chest. Sudden, Uchiha Sora's eyes suddenly opened. A streak of orange fairy eye shadow suddenly appeared on his eyelids. Mount Myoboku Perfect Sage Mode. On. Uchiha raised his palm and caught Jiraiya's powerful and heavy palm with a snap. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Jiraiya and the two immortals on his shoulders were both shocked. Looking at the cross-shaped shadow of a toad appearing in Uchiha Sora's pair of three Magatama Sharingan, Jiraiya and the two great immortals were dumbfounded. Sage Mode. How is that possible? Jiraiya exclaimed. How is it possible? The two immortals also shouted in disbelief. Fukasaku Sennin screamed. Impossible. This is impossible. How could he master Mount Myoboku's Sage Mode? This is completely unreasonable. He has never been to Mount Myoboku at all. Why did he master the Sage Mode of our Mount Myoboku? And he even entered Sage Mode in seconds. Shima Sennin was also yelling. Jiraiya was also shocked and his mind was buzzing. He was no less shocked than the two immortals, and shouted to Uchiha Sora, "How on earth did you learn Sage Mode?" Uchiha Kong smiled lightly. "Of course you taught me." "What? When did I? Could it be that you learned my Sage Mode while fighting me?" Jiraiya was shocked. Uchiha nodded. "No, this is impossible. Nothing is impossible," Uchiha said calmly. "Mount Myoboku Sage Mode is nothing more than that." He punched Jiraiya. Jiraiya quickly raised his hand to block it, and a huge force came from him, which made his arm numb. The body hurriedly stepped back, staring at Uchiha Sora. "Your Sage Mode is even more perfect than mine." Uchiha Sora's Mount Myoboku Sage Mode is as perfect as Naruto's Sage Mode in the original work. Although the battery life is far inferior to Jiraiya's state after merging the two immortals, it is better than Jiraiya in terms of Sage Jutsu Chakra. More pure and powerful. In terms of control, he is even better than Jiraiya. This dramatic scene left everyone present with no time to react. The people in Konoha who were watching the battle from a distance were already confused. Uchiha Kong felt his current state. The increase that Sage Jutsu Chakra brought to him was all round, including ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu. Even Sharingan's eye power can be greatly increased under the Sage Jutsu Chakra. He looked at Jiraiya and said, "Senior Jiraiya, in order to thank you for teaching me Sage Mode, let me show you my new power." As soon as he finished speaking, the three Magatama Sharingan in Uchiha's eyes turned into the Mangekyo pattern of the six-pointed star array again. In the middle of the pattern, there is also a cross shadow of a toad running through it. The next second, a powerful golden energy surged from Uchiha Kong's body. This is... Jiraiya and the two immortals on his shoulders were shocked again. I saw this golden energy turning into a huge skeletal figure. Immediately afterwards, blood, flesh, skin, and legs sprouted from the skeletal figure. Then there was armor covering it. In an instant, a golden armored warrior with a height of 20 to 30 meters appeared in front of everyone. The golden warrior's eyes also have Mount Myoboku's eyeshadow. This is Susanoo's fifth form. In the original work, the form opened by Sasuke after obtaining the eternal Mangekyo. This form is similar in size to the tailed beast, second only to the complete Susanoo. And this form of Uchiha Sora also adds the power of Sage Mode. It is even more powerful. The Golden Warrior holds a sword in his right hand and wears armor, looking very powerful. Powerful energy fluctuations shook the world. Even Jiraiya in Sage Mode was sweating on his forehead when he saw this golden giant. This kid actually used Sage Mode to increase Mangekyo's power, and also added Sage Jutsu energy to Susanoo. Fukasaku Sage said in shock. Little Jiraiya, prepare Sage Art. Fukasaku Sage shouted. Okay. Jiraiya understood immediately, formed a seal with his hands, and spit out a stream of toad oil forward. Fukasaku Sennin releases a burst of Sage Art Wind. Shima Sennin squirts Sage Art Fire style. Wind, fire, oil. The three merge into one and instantly turn into a blazing sea of fire. This sea of fire is countless times stronger than the toad oil flame bombs that Jiraiya and Bunta cooperated with. The monstrous sea of fire is like a sky curtain. Uchiha Sora's huge Susanoo actually seemed a little small in front of this sea of fire. The entire training ground instantly turned into a sea of fire. The Konoha ninjas who were watching the battle couldn't bear the heat wave emanating and retreated one after another. This is it. Sage Art Gomon, the only S-level fire style. In the face of such a natural disaster like fire style, any water style loses its effectiveness. Well done. Uchiha Sora stood on Susanoo's head, looking at the sea of fire in front of him, his pupils surged wildly. Susanoo held an energy sword in both hands and raised it high above his head. The next moment, the long sword slashed downwards towards the surging sea of fire. Boom! When the sword comes out, it's like a violent storm. Flames surge back. The sword fell and the sea of fire split into two halves. The front instantly turned into a vacuum. At this moment, the entire training ground was shaking. A strong wind swept across, and everyone in Konoha standing in the distance thought they were far enough away, but they were still blown around by the strong wind. Even some weak ninjas were blown away. Everyone was shocked. As for Jiraiya, who was at the center of the sword energy, his body was hit by this huge sword energy, and his body flew backwards like a cannonball. Boom! Jiraiya's body flew out of the training ground and smashed into a house with a bang, and then he stopped. A sword. Just a sword. Jiraiya in Sage Mode was knocked hundreds of meters away. All the Konoha ninjas at the scene looked at the golden samurai who was as huge as a tailed beast with horrified expressions. Are you kidding? Jiraiya-sama's Sage Art has been cracked. How can he be so strong? Is this the power of the Uchiha clan? It's too strong. Are we actually enemies of such a monster? It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. The Konoha ninjas looked up blankly at Uchiha Sora's Susanoo, completely losing confidence. In the ruins, the smoke and dust dispersed, and Jiraiya was lying on the ground. I saw that his long hair was messy, there was a bloody mark on his chest that was deep enough to see the bones, and his clothes were in tatters. The two great immortals on the shoulders were nowhere to be found. Sage Mode completely dissipated. He was completely defeated in this battle. Uchiha Kong took back the golden Susanoo, maintained Sage Mode, came to Jiraiya, and looked down at Jiraiya on the ground. Jiraiya-sama. At this time, everyone in Konoha finally reacted and hurriedly came around the two of them. Don't hurt Jiraiya-sama. Several figures stopped in front of Uchiha Kong, trying to save Jiraiya. But when they faced Uchiha Sora in Sage Mode, their slightly trembling bodies betrayed their inner fears. Seeing the nervous expressions on everyone's faces in Konoha, Uchiha Sora just smiled lightly, not taking these hundreds of Konoha ninjas seriously at all. After possessing Mount Myoboku Sage Mode, Uchiha Sora's strength has undergone a qualitative change. Sage Jutsu Chakra combined with the power of Mangekyo is simply invincible. Only Jiraiya in Sage Mode can compete with him, but with Susanoo's power, Jiraiya is no match for him after all. Get out of the way. At this moment, a deafening voice came. Gamabunta jumped out of nowhere, leapt high, appeared above Uchiha Sora, held a huge short sword, and slashed at Uchiha Sora. Uchiha looked back at it and said, "Don't overestimate your capabilities. Raise your palm." Sage Art Super Big Ball Rasengan. A huge Rasengan with a diameter of more than 5 meters appeared under Uchiha's empty palm. The rushing Gamabunta happened to hit the big ball Rasengan. Boom! The next moment, Gamabunta's huge body spun and flew out. In midair, it turned into white smoke and disappeared with a bang. Jiraiya watched his old partner being beaten back to Mount Myoboku, where he didn't know whether he was alive or dead. He stood up with difficulty and said with a wry smile, "Uchiha Sora, you won, you have to kill me or behead me as you please. I only hope you can let these Konoha ninjas go, they are no threat to you at all." Uchiha Kong's eyes flashed when he heard this and asked, "Are you willing to die for them? If I can save hundreds of them with one life, I will be considered a hero to Konoha. As a ninja, such a death method is not considered without any achievements, right?" Jiraiya said. "Jiraiya-sama." Everyone in Konoha was extremely moved after hearing this, and hurriedly shouted, "You must not sacrifice for us. Please leave quickly." "Okay." Uchiha waved his hand in vain, looked at Jiraiya and said, "Actually, as my defeated generals, you are no longer qualified to negotiate any conditions with me, but for your sake, I will let them go. Go back, but you must agree to one condition." "Okay." Jiraiya nodded. "As long as it doesn't harm Konoha, I will try my best to handle any conditions." Uchiha smiled and said, "Very good, in that case, you can stay in Kusunan village for the time being." After saying that, he slapped Jiraiya, leaving a mark of the Flying Thunder God. Then, he turned to the Konoha ninjas who were stunned and waved, still not leaving. Jiraiya's expression changed slightly, and he looked at the Konoha ninjas, "You go quickly. Go back and tell the third Hokage, don't worry about me." Everyone in Konoha knew that even if they stayed, it would be useless, and they could not be Uchiha Sora's opponent. After hearing this, they left here with Asuma who was unconscious. When everyone in Konoha left, Uchiha Kong took Jiraiya back to his leader's house. After he personally treated Jiraiya with medical ninjutsu, he said to Jiraiya, "You have the Flying Thunder God Mark 1 left on you. You should know that this mark is permanent. I will not restrict it from now on. Your freedom, but you must join my organization." "Your organization?" Jiraiya looked confused. "It is an organization called Beast." Uchiha Kong explained. "I intend to unite all Jinchuriki to form a Jinchuriki Alliance organization. In this organization, Jinchuriki exist as core members. In addition, every Jinchuriki, we still need a partner. And you will exist as the partner of these Jinchuriki. Beast organization, Jinchuriki Alliance. You actually have such a plan. What exactly do you want to do?" Jiraiya said in surprise. "Currently, only the top management of the Kingdom of Water know about the Jinchuriki Alliance, and the current member is only Six Tails Jinchuriki Yugao." Jiraiya didn't know about this, and when he heard Uchiha Sora's plan, he couldn't help but be shocked. "You should know the Akatsuki organization, right?" Uchiha said calmly. "Shao." Jiraiya looked solemn. "So you also noticed this organization?" Uchiha Sora continued. "The Akatsuki organization's goal is to capture the tailed beasts, and I want to stop their plan, so naturally I have to unite with the Jinchuriki." Capture the tailed beast? Jiraiya was shocked. He only noticed the existence of Akatsuki organization because of Orochimaru, and knew that there were some S-level dangerous people in it. But now he has not investigated the real purpose of the Akatsuki organization, nor does he know that the Akatsuki organization actually exists with the goal of capturing tailed beasts. The current Akatsuki organization has not launched a plan to capture the tailed beasts openly. The capture of 3 Tails Jinchuriki and 4 Tails Jinchuriki has not yet been exposed. Everyone does not know that Uchiha Obito is behind this incident. As the person behind the scenes, Uchiha Obito has not disclosed his relationship with the Akatsuki organization. So when Jiraiya heard about this, he was naturally shocked. "Is your information accurate?" Jiraiya said solemnly. "If it is true that the Akatsuki organization wants to capture the tailed beasts, then the Akatsuki organization is definitely a huge danger to the 5 great ninja villages. You have no doubt about my information, but you don't need to worry. As long as I am here, the Akatsuki organization's plan cannot succeed." Uchiha said empty-handedly. "It seems that you are very confident in forming the Jinchuriki alliance." Jiraiya said, "But if you want to complete this matter, I am afraid there are many obstacles." "So what if there are many obstacles?" Uchiha smiled lightly. For me, it's just more effort. His tone was full of powerful confidence. Jiraiya couldn't help but admire him after hearing this. At such a young age, he had already made plans to become the enemy of the entire ninja world. He couldn't help but think of Uchiha Madara back then. For his own goals, he resolutely abandoned his companions, left his family, and betrayed the village. Not understood, but unwavering. Although Jiraiya didn't know whether he should believe what Uchiha Sora said, he could see the shadow of Uchiha Madara in Uchiha Sora. Thinking of this, Jiraiya said in a serious tone, "Uchiha Kong, I will join your organization, but I will not believe everything you say." Uchiha smiled noncommittally. "Since I dare to let you join, I am naturally not afraid of your suspicion." "Okay." Jiraiya nodded. Uchiha waved his hand in vain. "Okay, next I have to solve the situation on the battlefield to the west, you can leave on your own." When Jiraiya heard the words, he didn't stay any longer and left as he was told. He received a lot of information today and needed to find a place to calm down. After leaving the grass ninja village, Jiraiya used his psychic technique to summon a toad, and sent it back to notify the elders of Mount Myoboku, who asked him to use his counter-psychic technique to bring him to Mount Myoboku. After a while, Jiraiya was summoned to the Holy Land of Mount Myoboku. Arriving at the sacred site of Mount Myoboku, Jiraiya immediately went to meet the great Toad Sage. He first asked about the conditions of Gamabunta and the two immortals, Fukasaku and Shima. After learning that although they were injured, their lives were okay, he came to the Great Toad Sage. "Who is coming?" Great Toad Sage squinted his eyes and looked at Jiraiya below. Jiraiya said, "Great Toad Sage, it's me, Jiraiya." "Oh, it's little Jiraiya, what's the matter?" Great Toad Sage asked. "Great Toad Sage, I'm here to ask you, do you have any prophecies about Uchiha Kong?" Jiraiya asked. Quote. Great Toad Sage closed his eyes and did not respond. "Great Toad Sage," Jiraiya yelled. The bandaged Fukasaku Sennin on the side said, "Old Master, little Jiraiya is asking you a question." "Oh, is it little Jiraiya?" The big toad woke up with a start, opened its hazy eyes and looked at Jiraiya, and continued to ask, "What's the matter?" Jiraiya was speechless and had to repeat the question again. Great Toad Sage did not fall asleep this time, but pondered for a long time, and then said in a slightly solemn tone, "Little Jiraiya, just now, I had a dream. In my dream, I saw that in the future, aliens would come to this land and wreak havoc and plunder. Later, someone defeated the aliens and saved the planet. Who is it?" Jiraiya asked hurriedly. "I don't know." Great Toad Sage shook his head. "Visitors from outside the world. How could such a thing happen?" Jiraiya said he couldn't believe it. Great Toad Sage said, "That should be in the distant future, at least 10 years from now." "Huh, what does that have to do with Uchiha Kong? Is it the alien from outside he defeated?" Jiraiya asked. "I don't know." Great Toad Sage continued to shake his head. "In my dream, the boy from the Uchiha clan did not appear in my dream." "Okay." Jiraiya nodded helplessly and asked unwillingly, "Do you have any other prophecies for Great Toad Sage?" "No." "Oh, then I'll take my leave first." Jiraiya had no choice but to leave. After Jiraiya left, Fukasaku Sennin and Shima Sennin looked at the Great Toad Sage and asked, "Old Master, who are the extraterrestrial visitors you just mentioned?" Great Toad Sage changed his previous confused state, opened his eyes with a flash of light, and said in a serious tone, "Those people are the ones who will bring disaster to this world. In the future, many people will die in this world, many, many more." Fukasaku Sennin and Shima Sennin were shocked. "Does it mean that our 3 holy places are not immune?" Great Toad Sage was silent. At this time, outside Konoha village, a group of ninjas were walking quickly, wearing forehead protectors from Tokigakure village. In the team, a little girl with short blue-green hair was protected in the middle, with a look of uneasiness on her face. "Fu, Konoha village is ahead, we will be safe soon. You must control your emotions and never let the monster inside you come out," the Tokigakure ninja who led the team soothed. This group of people turned out to be ninjas who escaped from Tokigakure village, and the Seven-Tails Jinchuriki Fu, whom the Akatsuki organization was looking for, was hidden among them. When the group arrived at the gate of Konoha village, they were blocked by the gatekeeper ninja at the village gate, and they quickly informed the third Hokage. After the third Hokage learned that they were ninjas from the allied Takigakure village, they took them seriously and quickly let them into the village and met them in person. Master Third Hokage, this is Jinchuriki Fu from our village. Before leaving, the leader told us that Fu must stay in Konoha village no matter what. Takigakure led the ninja team and bowed to Third Hokage. Jinchuriki, it seems that the situation in Takigakure village is critical. Third Hokage pondered, feeling secretly happy in his heart. Yes, no matter whether we win or lose in this war between Takigakure and Kusunoin village, the village will be completely destroyed, so the leader asked me to quietly send Seven Tails Jinchuriki to Konoha, and let her live well in Konoha from now on. Live. Third generation pondered for a while and asked, what happened in Takigakure village? Kakuzu, the S-class rebel ninja of Takigakure village, returned to the village. We couldn't resist. Under his pressure, we launched a war against the Kusakunin village. So that's it. The third Hokage suddenly realized, and then said a little confused, I have also heard about Kakuzu's strength. If you want to deal with him, unless I take action myself, sending anyone there will be useless. Takigakure led the ninja team and said hurriedly, I dare not trouble Mr. Hokage. You are related to the safety of Konoha village. Now that Fu has been safely delivered here, the affairs of Takigakure village can be left to fate. Third Hokage comforted. Don't worry, we in Konoha will definitely protect Fu's safety. We won't let her get hurt at all. Thank you so much, Mr. Hokage. The leading ninja thanked him and said, we have to go back to the village to have a look, so we will stay soon. The third Hokage nodded. The Takigakure ninjas left Seven Tails Jinchuriki Fu behind and hurried away. Only Fu, who was only 6 or 7 years old, looked at the unfamiliar environment around her with a confused and timid expression. Send this child to rest. The third Hokage summoned Anbu and asked Anbu to take Fu out of the Hokage office. The third Hokage lit up his pipe with a smile on his face. This is the fight between the snipe and the clam. On the battlefield west of the country of grass. The troops of the Kingdom of Earth are fighting fiercely with these 7 elite ninjas of the Dirty Land. The 7 Dirt Elites were all elite Jonin during their lifetimes, and they were all even famous elite Jonin. In terms of strength, all of them should be similar to Sarutobi Asuma. Although their strength is no longer the same after death, they can exert greater combat power because of their immortality. Overall, the strength is still not inferior to that of elite Jonin. Even among the 5 great ninja villages, there are only a handful of people whose strength has reached the level of elite Jonin. Therefore, even though the total number of Earth Kingdom troops was 5,000, they were still held back by the cooperation of the 7 Dirty Earth Elites. However, the troops of the Kingdom of Earth were not that easy to deal with. After discovering the immortality attribute of the reincarnation of the Earth, they immediately thought of using seals to deal with them. With the blessing of sealing techniques, the Dirt Elites finally couldn't resist and were sealed one after another. When only Yi Kang, an elite from the Dirty Land, was left on the battlefield. Cheers came from the Earth Kingdom troops. Lois and Five Tails Jinchuriki Han looked at each other and laughed. It seems that the current situation in the country of grass is really not optimistic. Facing our large army, they just sent these dead people to resist. It's really ridiculous, Huang Tu said cheerfully. Han said coldly. They are just a small ninja village, how much combat power can they bring out? Yes, but I heard that there is still the Uchiha clan in Kusanagi village. It's a pity that they should not be on this battlefield. Huang Tu shook his head and said regretfully, otherwise, I can get a few pairs of Sharingan and go back to study them. Quick fight, leave the last remaining Dirty Soil character to me. At this time, Han glanced at the Dirty Soil Yi Kang and said, then he ducked and rushed towards her. Yi Kang was on alert. Suddenly, her body shook slightly and she was forcibly deprived of consciousness. The next moment, Uchiha Sora, who had just finished talking to Jiraiya in the Kusakunin village, replaced Yi Kang's consciousness. Just when Han just rushed in front of Yi Kang, he saw Yi Kang suddenly forming a seal on the ground and patting it lightly. Psychic art. Bang, bang, 2 streaks of white smoke rose up and stood in front of Han's face. Han's forward offensive slowed down, and he hurriedly stopped and looked at it intently. The white smoke dissipated, and he saw 2 coffins standing in front of him. This is... Han was slightly startled, and Huang Tu and other large troops behind him were also stunned. Be careful, It's the reincarnation of dirty soil. Wangtu shouted. The two coffin boards creaked, revealing the two bodies inside. One of them, wearing the Takigakur rebel ninja forehead protector, is tall, and he is none other than Kakuzu. The other person, an old man with half of his body covered in white bandages and only one eye exposed, is Danzo. These two are relatively well-known figures in the ninja world. Needless to say, Kakuzu has been active in underground bounty houses all year round. Later, he joined the Akatsuki organization and took on tasks to make money. Onoki of the Earth Country hired him several times. Even before starting the war against Kusakunin village this time, Kakuzu was hired to go to Takigakur village and force Takigakur village to launch a war. Danzo is the leader of Konoha's root organization. Most ninjas may not know him, but strong men like Huangtu and Han must know his existence. As soon as the two appeared, the Earth Kingdom and others were shocked. Wangtu said in shock, "Kakuzu is actually dead. Did something big happen to Takigakur village?" Because the war had just started in less than a day, Uchiha Sora entered Takigakur village with thunderous force and killed Kakuzu, so the situation there has not yet been reported. So much so that after suddenly seeing Kakuzu reincarnated by Jutsu, Wangtu and others were a little confused. Also, Danzo of Konoha village was also killed by Uchiha. Everyone was shocked. At this time, Yi Kang, who was occupied by Uchiha Sora's consciousness, slowly said, "Let these two people play with you first." Kakuzu and Danzo in the coffin regained consciousness, walked out of the coffin, and appeared in front of everyone. Since Kakuzu had exchanged a few words with Uchiha when he was first resurrected, now that he knew that he had been summoned, he had accepted the reality and said nothing more. After Danzo regained consciousness, he seemed much less calm. He looked at his filthy body and shouted angrily, "Uchiha Sora! How dare you play with my soul? Uchiha Sora, come out here!" Danzo shouted, obviously very unhappy. However, he looked around and found that he was on a battlefield. There was no Uchiha Sora around him, only Kakuzu and Yugura, two filthy people. At this time, Yi Kang said, "Duanzo, after you are killed by me, you should be mentally prepared to be reincarnated by my filthy soil." Danzo looked at Yi Kang with a trace of doubt on his face, but he quickly figured out that it was Uchiha Sora who was talking to him through Yi Kang's body. He said angrily, "Uchiha Kong, come out here, don't hide your head and show your tail." Yi Kang smiled lightly and said, "Noisy. It seems that you can't listen to my instructions honestly." After saying that, Yi Kang regained her consciousness. Uchiha Sora, who was far away in the grass ninja village, directly replaced Danzo's furious consciousness and made him completely quiet. Kakuzu on the side glanced at the leader and said calmly, "What a pitiful old guy. As a high-ranking official in Konoha, he is controlled at will by the ninjas in his own village." However, after Kakuzu finished speaking, he released the four masked monsters on his body and launched a powerful ninjutsu attack on the Earth Kingdom ninjas. Yi Kang also followed closely and attacked the people of the Earth Kingdom. Danzo, whose consciousness was wiped out and now controlled by Uchiha Kong, silently took off the bandages on his body, revealing Shisui's right eye. And, of course, his Sharingan-covered arms. What Uchiha Sora resurrected was Danzo's state before his death, which means that his Shisui eyes and one-armed Sharingan will appear again with the reincarnation of Uchiha. Danzo in this state is extremely powerful. Moreover, it is Uchiha Sora who controls him now, which is equivalent to a king player controlling a diamond account. Sharingan's skills and Danzo's skills are also easy to control. As soon as he came on stage, he immediately launched a powerful wind escape ninjutsu attack. Taking advantage of the impact of the wind release ninjutsu, he rushed directly towards Han. At the same time, his right eye suddenly transformed into the shape of a four-cornered windmill. Mangekyo Sharingan. Die. Han's body suddenly burst out with a powerful steam, pushing his body to accelerate suddenly and rushed to Danzo. Punch it down. Danzo, controlled by Uchiha Kong, had no time to dodge, and Mangekyo Sharingan was punched in the head before he could use it. Hurry up and seal it. Han shouted. Everyone in the Earth Kingdom couldn't help but be very happy when they saw how fierce Han was. The sealing ninja hurriedly used sealing techniques to wrap Danzo's body with his head smashed. However, just when the sealing techniques were about to take effect, Danzo's body suddenly disappeared. Immediately afterwards, Danzo appeared near the sealed ninja intact. It's none other than Izanagi. Wind release vacuum wave. A wind blade like a sickle and weasel swept across the sealed ninja. The sealed ninja from the Kingdom of Earth was cut in half by the wind blade on the spot. Blood was poured out and everyone was shocked. What's going on? It's obviously going to be sealed soon. Everyone was puzzled. Danzo, controlled by Uchiha Kong, continued to rush towards Han. In Mangekyo Sharingan, Distinguished Heavenly God's Eye technique is ready to go. Danzo, who was reincarnated in the dirt, can use Distinguished Heavenly Gods once. It's a pity that Danzo, who was reincarnated in the dirt, did not have the same strength as before. In terms of speed and strength, there was a big gap between him and the Five Tails Jinchuriki Han. He was beaten before he could use his pupil technique just now. Fortunately, Izanagi's forbidden technique allowed him to avoid being sealed. Han, danger, don't get close to him again. At this time, Huang Tu warned. Han didn't dare to be reckless anymore and hurriedly retreated. Uchiha couldn't help but secretly thought it was a pity. The activation of Distinguished Heavenly Gods is limited by distance. It can only be activated successfully at close range. He originally wanted to use Distinguished Heavenly Gods to directly instigate Han's rebellion, but he didn't expect that Han's physical skills were too fast and it didn't work the first time. But the second time, they were actually on guard. It might not be that easy to use the pupil technique on them now. Thinking of this, Uchiha Kong had no choice but to control Danzo and continue to release powerful wind escape ninjutsu one after another, and start a head-on ninjutsu contest with the Earth Country troops. It's a pity that the Earth Kingdom troops have an absolute numerical advantage. On ninjutsu, Danzo, controlled by Uchiha Kong, did not have any advantage at all. Fortunately, Kakuzu's four masked monsters pack a lot of firepower. Under various complex ninjutsu, the battlefield fell into a stalemate. Kakuzu, who was reincarnated from the dirty earth, has unlimited chakra energy and can use his ninjutsu at will. His mask monster release ninjutsu does not require seals, it is simply 4 mobile turrets. There is also Yi Kang's Scorch-style secret technique, which will kill you if you touch it. For a time, although the Earth Kingdom troops were numerous, they were unable to defeat the 3 of them. Under the personal control of Uchiha Kong, Danzo always pays attention to the movements of the sealed ninjas, and will immediately interfere if there is danger approaching. Lois and Han were afraid of the Sharingan on Danzo's body, but they didn't dare to get close. Moreover, Han must always be on guard against Uchiha Kong suddenly appearing through the Flying Thunder God mark on Lois and making a sudden attack, so he must always pay attention to Lois's situation. Because only Han, who is good at physical skills, can possibly guard against Uchiha Sora's Flying Thunder God. There are so many Sharingan on this Danzo. Especially that right eye, that shape, it should be the Mangekyo Sharingan. Don't get close to it easily before you understand its ability. Looking at Danzo's Sharingan arm, the Lois cannot help but tell. Han scolded. No wonder this old guy Danzo was killed by Uchiha Kong, he really deserves to die. Although they were enemies, after seeing the Sharingan with that arm, it was almost impossible to guess the dark history of Konoha village. Fortunately, Danzo was now deprived of consciousness by Uchiha Kong, otherwise if he heard that he was still scolded after he died, he would really vomit 3 liters of blood. At this time, Uchiha Sora, who was in the grass ninja village, remotely controlled Danzo to continuously perform various ninjutsu, when the voice of the system came from his mind. Ding dong. Through your continuous control of the reincarnation of the dirty soil, the flaws of the art of reincarnation of the dirty earth are automatically improved. The art of the reincarnation of the dirty earth evolves towards perfection. Uchiha Sora couldn't help but feel happy. Unexpectedly, the reincarnation of the dirty land would become more perfect in my own hands. This means that when I use the reincarnation of evil land in the future, I should be able to make the strength of the deceased closer to that of the living person. This is simply an unexpected bonus. On the battlefield, the battle continued and gradually became intense. Kakuzu almost single-handedly used ninjutsu to contain the attack of the Earth Kingdom army. However, despite his fierce firepower, he was still unable to match the huge numerical advantage of the Earth Kingdom troops, and was gradually suppressed. Yi Kang is no exception. Only Danzo, who is under Uchiha's air control, can still use Izanagi to deal with him. But defeat is only a matter of time. After all, the three of them were reincarnated from the dirty soil and were unable to exert their full strength before they were born. What's more, although Kakuzu can't resist Uchiha Sora's instructions, he won't fight with all his strength, and naturally he won't be able to use all his combat experience. Seeing that the three of them were completely suppressed, they would soon end up being sealed. Uchiha, who was far away in the grass ninja village, made a seal. The next second, 3 coffins appeared behind the 3 people, and they were loaded into them at lightning speed. Bang, bang, bang. The coffin lid turned into white smoke and disappeared. Even though he was outmatched, Uchiha Sora decided to take them back first. On the battlefield, Huangtu and others looked at the sudden disappearance of Danzo and the others, and couldn't help but be stunned. The ninja troops of the Land of Earth who lost their target quickly looked at their captain Huangtu. Huangtu analyzed. Uchiha behind the scenes should have taken action. Let's go directly to the grass ninja village. He can't run away, unless he abandons the grass ninja village. This time, let's see how he can resist us. Brothers, attack the grass ninja village. Kill Uchiha Sora. Avenge your dead comrades. The ninjas of the Earth Kingdom couldn't help but get excited and shouted in unison. Invasion of the grass ninja village. Kill Uchiha Sora. Invasion of the grass ninja village. Kill Uchiha Sora. Amidst the bursts of shouts, the Earth Kingdom troops moved forward quickly towards the grass ninja village with an indomitable momentum. The territory of the country of grass is not large, and the distance from the border to the grass ninja village is only a few hundred kilometers. Ninjas are very fast on their feet, and it doesn't take much time for them to travel 100 kilometers. At this time, Uchiha Sora was sitting cross-legged in the mansion of the leader of Kusanagi village, adjusting his condition. From the diamond-shaped mark on his forehead, chakra continued to flow out, making up for the consumption during the previous battle with Jiraiya. After letting the 3 men of Zushitu Tensai retreat, Uchiha Sora already knew that he had to appear in person. Facing a large army of 5,000 people, he must adjust his condition to its peak. Fortunately, I learned the yin seal before, and the amount of chakra sealed in it is very large. Even after a big battle with Jiraiya, only part of it was actually consumed, and the remaining amount of chakra was enough for him to squander. And the army is pressing down on the territory. Just as the Earth Kingdom troops were advancing towards the grass ninja village. In other parts of the ninja world, all forces are paying attention to all this. In their opinion, the front line of Takigakure village to the north of Kusakunin village and the front line of Omegakure village to the south are actually not important. The front line of the Kingdom of Earth is where everyone focuses their attention. Because the Earth country is one of the 5 major ninja villages, and a large force of 5,000 people is pressing down on the border, the grass ninja village simply cannot produce a corresponding number of ninjas to resist. Once the grass ninja village is breached, Uchiha's death is second to none. The most important thing is that the Uchiha clan who have settled in the grass ninja village will never have time to escape. At that time, the Uchiha clan will face the same crisis of genocide as the Uzumaki clan back then. The Sharingan of the Uchiha clan will also become a treasure that the entire ninja world is competing for. By Wooden Golem, you set off immediately to the country of grass. In the cloud-hidden village of the country of thunder, 4th Raikage ordered to a young woman with long straight rice-brown hair. Going to the country of grass. Do you want me to support the grass ninja village? Said by Wooden Golem. 4th Raikage showed goodwill to Uchiha Kong not long ago. She guessed that this time she wanted to help the grass ninja village resist the Earth country troops, thereby further wooing Uchiha Kong. After all, there is an old grudge between Union Village and Yenian Village. By supporting Uchiha Sora, it is the best action to fight against the forces of the Earth Kingdom. 4th Raikage shook his head and said, "No, your mission is not to support the grass ninja village, but to lurk near the grass ninja village and wait for opportunities." After a pause, he said, "Uchiha Kong will never be able to stop the large army of the Earth Kingdom. After the grass ninja village is attacked, you can just find an opportunity to capture some people from the Uchiha clan and come back." By Wooden Golem was slightly startled when he heard this. 4th Raikage said, "This is an S-level mission. You must not take action until the grass ninja village has been conquered." What if the grass ninja village was not breached? Wooden Golem couldn't help but ask. This is impossible. Although Uchiha Sora is very strong, but in his current situation, he no longer has the extra strength to guard the grass ninja village. I have received information that the Uchiha clan's combat power has been involved in the rain in the south. In the hidden village battlefield, the guard strength in the grass ninja village is very empty. Fourth Hokage sneered and shook his head. Seeing Fourth Hokage's vow, Wooden Golem nodded and said, "Okay, then I'll set off now." In the Kingdom of Wind, 4th generation Hokage is also paying attention to the battle situation. He almost made the same decision as 4th Hokage and sent an elite ninja team to sneak into the country of grass, also preparing to fish in troubled waters and plot the bloodline of the Uchiha clan. Only in the Kingdom of Water far away overseas, the Grand Elder Yuanshi learned about the situation in the grass ninja village, and almost without thinking, he sent Terumime to lead an elite team into the Kingdom of Grass to prepare to support Uchiha Sora. As for the Leaf Village, they did not act rashly. After Jiraiya came out of Mount Myoboku, he quickly sent a message to the 3rd Hokage, explaining his defeat to Uchiha Kong and asking him not to take any further action against Uchiha Kong. When the 3rd Hokage received a message from Jiraiya and learned that Uchiha Kong had learned Mount Myoboku's Sage Mode, they knew that things were going to be serious. Outside the Grass Ninja Village in the country of Grass, all the troops of the Kingdom of Earth are assembled. Lois and Han, together with 5,000 Iwagakure ninjas, appeared from the front outside the Kusanagi village. The enemy is coming. A sentry ninja from the Grass Ninja village trembled in a trembling voice, observing the crowded Earth Kingdom army with a telescope. A companion next to him said with an uncertain tone, "Can our leader really defend the village? Leave everything to the leader and let nature take its course." The sentry ninja sent out a signal flare to spread the news of the enemy's attack to the village behind him. Then, he put down the telescope, sat there, looked up at the sky, and was stunned. With his low strength, he is not even qualified to be sent to the battlefield, and it is even more impossible to stop the menacing army of the Kingdom of Earth. After delivering the message, his duty had been completed, and all that was left was to wait. Life or death, this is no longer something he wants to consider. Now, he just wants to empty his mind and enjoy the rare peace. Seeing this scene, my companion also showed a relieved smile on his face, and laughed and said, "Yes, just let fate happen. If you can survive this time, I will treat you to drinks for a month. Then I'll treat you to meals for a month." Ha ha ha. The two looked at each other and smiled, seemingly looking away from everything. Ha, ha, the wind howled. There was a chilling atmosphere in the air. The large army of the Kingdom of Earth, with extremely fierce momentum, finally arrived 100 meters outside the sentry box. Huang Tu and Han, who were leading the team, looked at the gate of the Grass Ninja village with no ninja resistance in front of them, and couldn't help but look at each other. It seems Uchiha Kong is really at the end of his rope. Huang Tu said. At this time, there is no force from the Grass Ninja village to stop us. Has he given up here? Han frowned. Luo Tu's expression darkened. This guy has the Flying Thunder God technique. He may really escape even though he knows he is no match for us. After all, he snatched this Grass Ninja village from others. HMPH. He can escape, but the Uchiha clan cannot escape. Han snorted coldly. That's right, even if you can't kill Uchiha Kong this time, you can at least get the Uchiha clan. Huang Tu said. Okay, let's launch an attack. There seem to be two people watching in front of us. Don't worry about them and just crush them. Han waved his hand. Under the desperate gazes of the two Grass Ninja sentry ninjas, the Earth Kingdom army rushed towards the Grass Ninja village with unparalleled momentum. Whoosh! At this moment, a kunai fell from the sky and landed on the path of the Earth Kingdom army. Whoosh! A figure flashed instantly. The white royal robe fell down. Uchiha Sora, come on stage, he said to the two Grass Ninjas in charge of the sentry behind him. Thank you for the hard work, you two, please go back and take shelter. When the two heard Uchiha Sora's words, they were so excited that they almost cried. Great, leader, you are finally here. Come on, leave this place to me. The two of them knew that if they stayed, they would die. After hearing this, they did not dare to delay any longer and fled towards the village behind them. But the two of them did not escape to the shelter. Instead, after escaping for a certain distance, they stopped and looked back at Uchiha Sora's back from a distance. If the leader fails this time, what's the use of escaping back to the village? The two looked at each other, and one of them said with a bitter smile. Yes, it is impossible for us to abandon our family and leave the village. In this case, we might as well be here and witness with our own eyes the heroism of the leader fighting against all enemies alone. Chapter 71. At this moment, the expression on Uchiha Sora's face, which was blocking the path of everyone from Earth Kingdom, looked very calm. Han, who was rushing at the front, and many Iwagakure ninjas couldn't help but be stunned when they saw the sudden appearance of Uchiha Sora. It's Uchiha Sora. It's him. He actually showed up. And there's only one person. No way. Does he want to block our large army by himself? Don't be kidding. Where are his subordinates? Are they all dead? He is the only commander left. What are we afraid of? Go ahead. Kill him. The combined momentum of the 5,000 Iwagakure ninjas gave countless Iwagakure ninjas great confidence. They shouted and rushed towards Uchiha Sora with indomitable faith. Even the ordinary ninjas who knew that Uchiha Sora was powerful still had a posture of not taking Uchiha Sora seriously at all. However, amidst the shouts of everyone, Uchiha could only see his hands forming a seal. Multiple Shadow Clone Jutsu. Bang 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 bang. In an instant, thousands of Uchiha appeared in front of the Earth Kingdom army. What? This guy actually has so many clones. Everyone in Yanyan couldn't help but be surprised. Immediately afterwards, numerous Uchiha Sora were seen rushing forward to meet the large army of Earth Country. Separating thousands of Shadow Clone is also a big burden for Uchiha Sora. Although his chakra amount has been increasing continuously due to automatic training, it is still a little far away from the chakra amount of Uzumaki Naruto in the original work. However, facing a large force of 5,000, Uchiha Sora could only use the same human sea tactics to block them. Among the 5,000 ninjas in the Earth Kingdom, there are only a few truly powerful ones, most of them are just Genin and Chunin. Although Uchiha Kong has divided thousands of Shadow Clone, each Shadow Clone is stronger than the average Genin Chunin. As soon as the two sides came into contact, a fierce confrontation began. The main body of Uchiha stood there. After dividing thousands of Shadow Clone, there was very little chakra in his body, but he was not worried at all. Because he still has unused chakra in the Yin Seal, as long as he is willing, he can immediately use the Yin Seal to replenish his own chakra. Moreover, his chakra became scarce after being divided equally by thousands of Shadow Clone. After those Shadow Clones sent out were scattered, the remaining chakra would return to the main body. Unless the Shadow Clone consumes all the chakra and disappears on its own, there will usually be remaining chakra coming back. These thousands of Shadow Clone don't have much chakra in their bodies, so they cannot use powerful ninjutsu, but ordinary ninjutsu, taijutsu and swordsmanship are no problem. Moreover, the speed and power of the clones are not bad. Those ordinary Iwagakure Genin Chunin will be killed accidentally. Only ninjas above elite Chunin can find the opportunity to break his clone. Kill, 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 the Iwagakure ninjas shouted, and the two sides fell into a fight. The number of Shadow Clones and the number of Iwagakure ninjas are constantly decreasing. Seeing this scene, Huang Tu frowned. This Uchiha Kong even spared no effort in consuming chakra to form an army of Shadow Clone to resist us. It seems that he wants to eliminate our living forces as much as possible. Huang Tu secretly analyzed in his heart, we can no longer fight with him with our lives like this. Got it. He gave Han a look, and the other party understood it and immediately entered the half-tailed beast state, launching a strong attack on Uchiha Sora's Shadow Clone. In Han's half-tailed beast state, his speed and power were greatly enhanced, and Uchiha Sora's Shadow Clone was immediately wiped out in large numbers. Realizing this, he immediately used his psychic technique to summon Yikang, Kakuzu and Danzo who had previously recovered them. Then he used a spell to strengthen Danzo's control and bind his will. As soon as these three people appeared, they directly aimed at the Five Tails Jinchuriki Han and rushed towards them. While Danzo's will is bound, he cannot activate distinguished heavenly gods and complex techniques, and the power he can exert is limited. But Kakuzu's four masked monsters are very powerful. There is also Yikang's Scorch-style intimidation on the side. The three of them suppressed Han for a while. After holding Han back, Uchiha Sora's Shadow Clone continued to consume the number of Iwagakure ninjas. The troublesome dirty soil is reincarnated. Huang Tu frowned upon seeing this. In the melee between the two sides, the sealing ninja had no chance to seal the dead reincarnated in the dirty land. Because Uchiha Sora's shadow clone will detect the situation at any time and come to the rescue. You can only spend it. Humph. In that case, I want to see how much chakra you can squander. Huangtu was furious in his heart. It's helpless to consume Uchiha Sora's chakra with human life, but this is war. He asked several elites to guard him to prevent the Flying Thunder God from attacking, and he used ninjutsu with all his strength to clear out Uchiha Sora's clones. Bang, 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 shadow clone keeps disappearing. Uchiha Sora is also constantly receiving combat information from shadow clone, watching every life turn into nothing in his own hands. Even when he saw an Iwagakure ninja, he became so angry that he attached a detonating talisman to himself, and then rushed towards the clone in a suicidal manner and blew himself up. The scene is cruel and tragic. But at this moment, he didn't have any mercy in his heart. Because this is war. Time passed, and when all of Uchiha Sora's shadow clone disappeared, the battlefield was already filled with blood. The smell of blood spread for miles, even to the two Kusanagi who were fighting a kilometer away and could smell it clearly. As expected of a leader, those guys from the Earth Kingdom suffered heavy casualties. Well done. The two held hands and trembled with excitement. The number of the large army of 5,000 people dropped sharply to more than 2,000 people. There were so many ninja casualties in his own village, and Huangtu's heart was bleeding. It was really cruel to use more than 2,000 lives to replace all the shadow clone of Uchiha Sora. At this time, Huangtu was filled with hatred. He shouted to Uchiha Sora, who was still standing there, "Uchiha Sora. With so many clones, how much chakra can you still have in your body? Let me tell you, you can't protect the village behind you. I will do it myself. Ruin all the efforts you have made here." Looking at the furious Lois, Uchiha Kong smiled lightly and said, "Don't worry, my chakra is definitely enough. Even if I cast multiple shadow clone again, it will be more than enough." However, the effect that shadow clone can have has been achieved, and the next step is to let's switch to another project. At this time, there is still 30% of the chakra in Uchiha Kong's body, and the yin seal has not yet been released. He decided to go out and play with them himself. He took out a small scroll from his ninja tool bag, unfolded it, raised his hand and pressed it. There was a bang and white smoke rose. A brand new long sword appeared in Uchiha's empty hand. There is also a giant shuriken that is as tall as a person. Uchiha Sora stuck his long sword on the ground, picked up the giant shuriken with his right hand, and threw it towards the Iwagakure ninjas in front. At the same time, he formed a seal with his left hand. Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. In the blink of an eye, the giant Fuma shuriken split into dozens or hundreds of clones in midair and smashed towards the Earth Country ninja troops. Earth Style Wall. Earth Style Earth Wall. A series of defensive ninjutsu rose from the Earth Kingdom troops, blocking the attacks of many giant shurikens. But at this moment, Uchiha Sora had already taken advantage of the situation and rushed into the crowd, with the sword in his hand flashing with dazzling lightning. Swordsmanship. Thunderous Slash. Swordsmanship Thunder Slash. A series of lightning attribute slashes erupted in Uchiha's empty hand, quickly killing the Iwagakure ninja. The speed, strength and reaction of the main body are naturally not comparable to those of the clones. Uchiha opened the Sharingan in the sky, and the three Magatama rotated in the scarlet pupils, understanding the movements of all enemies around him. Every time he slashes, he will take away at least one life. In front of him, ordinary Iwagakure ninjas have no enemy at all. Although there are many Iwagakure ninjas, they can't hurt Uchiha at all. Looking at this scene, Huangtu couldn't help but think of the last time he led 1,000 troops to raid the grass ninja village. He gritted his teeth and encouraged everyone. Uchiha Sora has very little chakra left. Don't give up, everyone. Victory is right in front of you. The timid Iwagakure ninjas who were originally killed were shocked after hearing this, and they suddenly felt strong confidence. The attacks of the Iwagakure ninjas became more fierce, and they became even more fearless of death. Kunai, shuriken, detonating charms and other ninja tools were thrown at Uchiha Sora, but they were all dodged. Various Earth-style ninjutsu, mixed with other types of ninjutsu, took turns to fight, but none of them could touch the hem of Uchiha Sora's clothes. But everyone gritted their teeth and continued to unleash firepower on Uchiha Sora in an attempt to consume him to death. A battle between one person and many people broke out on this battlefield. At this time, at the edge of the battlefield, a figure quietly appeared on the top of a big tree. Wooden Golem, who has a cool and handsome face and a graceful figure, is staring at the figure on the battlefield. There were bursts of brilliance in her eyes, the corners of her mouth raised slightly, and she said to herself, "This Uchiha Sora is really an interesting person." "You think so, right? Matabi. Wooden Golem, you have to be careful, that human is very dangerous." The second-tailed Matabi in her body warned. Hearing his partner's warning, Wooden Golem couldn't help but whisper, "Of course I know the danger for a guy who can fight against Iwagakure's 5,000-strong army alone. This feat is almost comparable to the Third Raikage Sama back then." Third Raikage. Among you humans, some monsters are really scarier than us tailed beasts. Matabi sighed. Just as Wooden Golem arrived at the edge of the battlefield to watch the battle with emotion, on the other side of the battlefield, an elite team from the Kingdom of Wind had also arrived. The leader of the team is Maji from Sunagakure Village, who is one of the most powerful Jonin in Sunagakure Village. There are two other powerful Jonin in the team. Captain Maji, don't you think that man is the hero of our village, Scorch-style Ninja Yi Kang? The three of them were paying attention to the battle, and a companion couldn't help but said when he saw the figure of Yi Kang. Scorch-style ninja, Hayakura. Maji's eyes narrowed and he gritted his teeth and said, "It's indeed her. This guy Uchiha Kong is blatantly playing tricks on the heroic female ninja of our village. It's really disgusting. Yes, that is the hero of our village." The companion was also very angry and said, "But this mission is also an opportunity for us. When Uchiha Kong is defeated, it is time for us to ask the Uchiha clan to pay off his debts." On the battlefield, the battle between Uchiha Sora and the Iwagakure ninjas continued. Boom! After knocking away an Iwagakure ninja with one punch, Uchiha put away the curled long sword in his hand and stood there, looking tired. His physical strength was greatly consumed, and there was not much chakra left. Haha, he's tired. Here's the opportunity. Come on, everyone. The surrounding Iwagakure ninjas were overjoyed when they saw Uchiha Sora being weak. Everyone is jealous. Whoever can kill Uchiha Sora will definitely get a huge reward when he returns to the village. And he will also become the hero of the whole village. Go ahead, kill Uchiha Sora. The Iwagakure ninjas let out loud shouts. But at this moment, Uchiha was seen making a seal with one hand, and the diamond-shaped mark on his forehead suddenly glowed. Yin Seal Resolution. A series of strange lines spread across his face, adding an eerie feeling to his already handsome face. Instantly, a large amount of chakra poured into the body. Uchiha's empty chakra was filled immediately. Ninja art creation and rebirth. He also used the medical ninjutsu to completely remove all fatigue. At this moment, the state is back to its peak. Uchiha Sora's powerful momentum burst out again. Feeling the changes in Uchiha Sora, the Iwagakure ninjas could not help but slow down their offensive. What's going on? Why do I feel like he's regained his energy? What are those marks on his face? It seems to be some kind of amazing secret technique. He doesn't have any trump cards, does he? Some Iwagakure ninjas began to feel uneasy. Huang Tu shouted, "Don't worry, this guy might be bluffing." After saying that, he rushed out first and used earth-style ninjutsu, turning his arm into a huge rock fist and smashing it hard at Uchiha Sora. Lois's blow was powerful and heavy, with an indomitable momentum. At this time, Uchiha Kong looked at the coming attack, but just smiled faintly and closed his eyes slightly. The next second, his eyes suddenly opened. In the scarlet pupils, the three Magatama Sharingan transformed into the shape of Mangekyo of the six-pointed star array. A stream of pale golden energy surged out from his body. Just when Lois's huge rock fist was about to hit his eyes, an equally huge golden hand suddenly grasped the rock fist. In an instant, Lois's powerful rock fist stopped in front of Uchiha Sora. This is... A trace of cold sweat broke out on Huang Tu's forehead, his eyes widened, and he looked at the golden palm that grabbed him. Through this golden palm, Huang Tu saw a half-length warrior whose whole body was made of golden energy standing in front of him, wrapping Uchiha in the sky. With a slight flick of the golden palm, the Lois was thrown away and fell to the ground with a bang. The surrounding Iwagakure ninjas were stunned by this scene. Feeling the powerful aura emanating from Uchiha Kong at this moment, their hearts trembled greatly, and they actually felt as if their legs were weak. What ninjutsu is this? What kind of power is this? Everyone looked up at Susanoo and kept murmuring in their mouths. Uchiha Kong looked at the surrounding Iwagakure ninjas, but slowly shook his head. This power is not enough. After saying that, the power in his eyes surged again. As Mangekyo's powerful pupil power surged out, the half-body Susanoo of Uchiha Konga stood taller again, and in the blink of an eye, the half-body warrior grew legs. The entire body has grown to 20 meters tall, and is as huge as a tailed beast. This is Susanoo's fifth form, second only to the perfect body. Its formation brought an even greater sense of oppression to everyone present. Many people were so frightened that their lips trembled and their throats lost their voice. He almost turned around and ran away. Uchiha Kong had already reached Susanoo's head and was looking down at the entire battlefield around him. Seeing the reactions of the Iwagakure ninjas, they couldn't help but shake their heads in disappointment. Once Susanoo is opened, ordinary ninjas cannot even break through his defense. I saw the golden warrior stretching out his long arms, and a golden sword condensed in his hand. He waved lightly towards the surrounding Iwagakure ninjas. The sword energy is everywhere. The earth shook. A strong wind roared in the air, and sand and rocks flew on the ground. Suddenly, all the Iwagakure ninjas surrounding Uchiha Sora were chopped into pieces by the powerful sword energy. A sword. So scary. The other Iwagakure ninjas almost collapsed watching this scene. Too strong. It's really too strong. The two grass sentry ninjas who were watching the battle from a distance couldn't help but dance with excitement when they saw this scene. The leader is so strong. So domineering. I love him so much. The leader is mighty. The leader is mighty. The two hugged each other and cried with joy. On the other side, Wooden Golem and Sunagakure Maki from Kumogakure village were all shocked by the power of Uchiha Sora's Susanoo. This guy is indeed a monster. Wooden Golem, who has always been proud, couldn't help but take a breath. Maji and others even broke out in cold sweat behind their backs. If he knew that the purpose of his trip to this kind of monster was the Uchiha clan, even the fourth generation Kazekage-sama might not be able to protect him. He might even bring great harm to the village. Trouble. On the battlefield, after the smoke and dust dissipated, everyone looked at the corpses on the ground, and their emotions collapsed a little bit. What kind of monster are we fighting? Why do you want us to fight this kind of monster? What do you think, Lord Third Tsuchikage? Why do you want everyone to die? Yes, so many people have died, is there any point in this battle? I won't fight, I want to go home. Many people actually felt war-weary in their hearts, and even dropped their weapons and ran away. For a time, the momentum of the Iwagakure army plummeted. Huang too, who got up, looked at this scene and clenched his fists so hard that his nails dug into his flesh. He suddenly shouted at everyone, "Everyone! Do you want the sacrifice of your previous companions to be in vain? In the face of a powerful enemy, do you give up our will of stone so easily?" Everyone who had collapsed suddenly became mentally shocked. The will of stone. Yes, this is the will of Iwagakure village passed down from generation to generation. It is the root of Iwagakure village's standing. Everyone was encouraged again, and their bodies that were trembling with fear stopped trembling, and strength surged up again. Everyone activate ninjutsu with me. Yellow Earth shouted. Yes, everyone shouted loudly. Earth-style Earth-stone dragon. I saw everyone launching Earth-style ninjutsu together. A large amount of chakra lifted up the ground beneath their feet, forming huge dragons of mud and stone. Dozens or hundreds of earth dragons rushed towards Uchiha Sora's golden Susanoo with a momentum like a roaring mountain and a tsunami. Earth-style Earth Dragon Bullet Technique. Earth-style Falling Stone. All kinds of Earth-style ninjutsu came into battle, all tilting towards Uchiha Sora. In an instant, Uchiha Sora's Susanoo was overwhelmed by numerous Earth-style ninjutsu. Huang Tu watched this scene, clapped his hands on the ground, and shouted, "It's not enough, add my mountain and earth skills." Boom! Powerful chakra pours crazily from the lowest into the earth. I saw two semicircular mountains rising from the ground on both sides of Uchiha sky, rushing toward him. For a moment, the ground shook, dust flew, and gravel sputtered in all directions. Uchiha Sora's golden Susanoo was completely covered by two large mountains. This scene made the three people of Zuto and the Five Tails Jinchuriki who were fighting fiercely on the battlefield couldn't help but stop fighting and all looked over. Wooden Golem and others who were watching the battle from afar on the edge of the battlefield couldn't help but break into a cold sweat. Sure enough, we cannot underestimate the power of ordinary ninjas coming together. The crowd tactics in Iwagakure are really terrifying, Sunagakure Jonin Maki secretly said. Due to geographical conditions and resource constraints, Sand Hidden Village in the country of wind can only take the elite route. The number of ninjas cannot be compared with Iwagakure village. At this time, after seeing the power of the crowd tactics of the Iwagakure ninjas, Maji and others were also deeply moved. Did it succeed? On the battlefield, when the dust settled, an Iwagakure ninja said expectantly. Almost half of the chakra's lois was used up, and I couldn't help but look at it intently. It must be hard for Uchiha Sora to withstand such intensive ninjutsu attacks head-on, coupled with the mountain earth jutsu that he has accumulated all his strength, right? Can he still block like last time? Huangtu was looking forward to seeing Uchiha lying in the ruins. But the next second, Huangtu seemed to sense something, and the expression on his face suddenly changed. Everyone, be careful, an exclamation came from his lips. The ground shook slightly. A flash of light suddenly flashed through the gap between the two huge semicircular mountains. This is sword light. Boom. The next second, a circular sword light suddenly shot out from the mountain soil. Those two huge mountains were instantly divided into upper and lower halves by the sword light. The sword energy swept out, sweeping across the entire battlefield, stretching for nearly a kilometer. The powerful sword energy instantly shattered the bones of the Iwagakure ninjas who were close and turned them into dust. The ninjas further away were not immune. They were all thrown away by the continuous sword energy and screamed in terror in midair. Even the Lois was blown away by the sword energy. Fortunately, he quickly used the earth-style hardening technique to completely harden his body, thus avoiding the fate of being killed by the sword energy. The aftermath of the sword energy spread to a kilometer away, and the strong wind caused those watching the battle to raise their arms in front of themselves. What a powerful blow! This power is comparable to a tailed beast. No, it may even surpass a tailed beast, Wooden Golem said in shock. At this time, in the center of the battlefield, the golden warrior slowly stepped out and appeared in front of everyone. Only the head of the golden samurai was visible. Uchiha Sora crossed his arms over his chest. In his eyes, under the pattern of Mangekyo, there was a horizontal shadow passing through, and on the eyelids was orange-red sage eye shadow. At the same time, the sage eye shadow is also reflected on Susanoo's face. It's none other than Sage Jutsu Susan. The power of Sage Jutsu Susanoo is much stronger than that of ordinary Susanoo. Although its power is not as powerful as the complete Susanoo, the power of one sword strike is enough to sweep across the entire battlefield. Even the tailed beast is inferior to Sage Jutsu Susanoo. At this time, the entire Earth Kingdom army was on their backs. The number of ninjas that had been killed to less than 2,000 was lost in half in an instant after this sword attack. On the entire battlefield, there were only 700 or 800 Iwagakure ninjas still alive. The eyes of these surviving ninjas were filled with despair as they looked at the huge golden warriors coming like a hill. It's over, everything is over. We were defeated, a miserable defeat. So many people died. Why did this happen? Too strong. He is too strong. He is simply a monster, a monster. An atmosphere of despair spread on the battlefield. Even Lois couldn't help but doubt life at this moment. He felt extremely guilty in his heart. If he hadn't led the team to attack Kusanagi village, if he hadn't inspired everyone's will at the last moment, perhaps more people would have survived. It was me who gave the wrong instructions to my subordinates. It was me who brought such a big sacrifice to the soldiers. Huangtu lowered his head in self-reproach and knelt on the ground crying bitterly. Wooden Golem and others who were watching the battle from a distance also looked at the golden warrior shining with golden light on the battlefield with shocked expressions. What kind of power is this? Mitabi, I'm afraid even after we completely transform into tailed beasts, we may not be that guy's opponent, right? Wooden Golem said in a low voice, with a tremor in his voice. The Mitabi in her body was silent for a while and said, only the guy from 9 Tails can compete with this kind of power. Even 8 Tails is still a little behind. At this time, Uchiha was flying Sage Jutsu Susanna in the sky, attacking the battlefield like a superior god. None of the Iwagakure ninjas dared to resist. Their stubborn will became as fragile as paper in the face of powerful force. Roar! Suddenly, a roar came from the battlefield. A powerful chakra rose into the sky. In the ruins, a figure with 5 red chakra tails slowly stood up. It's Han. Everyone was shocked. Huangtu raised his head and looked towards Han. Under that sword attack just now, Han went berserk. Huangtu murmured. The power of 5 tails Jinchuriki was originally a murderous force on the battlefield, and Huangtu had high hopes for it, but at this time, Huangtu didn't have much expectations in his heart. Because compared to Uchiha Sora's Golden Susanoo, the power of 5 tails Jinchuriki actually seems a bit weak. But at this time, Han, who was running rampant, could not help himself. The 5 tails Kokuo in his body, regardless of this, finally suppressed Jinchuriki and unleashed its power wantonly. Han's body was gradually covered with layers of white bones, and the white bones gave birth to bloody flesh. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a pure white beast. The body is like a horse, the head is like a dolphin, with huge horns on its head, and 5 giant white tails behind it are swaying in the wind. 5 tails Kokuo appears. The huge figure stood opposite Susanoo, his eyes fixed on him. Oh, is this Jinchuriki's complete tailed beast transformation? Or is the tailed beast going berserk? Uchiha Kong looked at Kokuo in front of him and asked. In response to him, Kokuo snorted from his nose. Although the amount of 5 tails Kokuo chakra is not the largest, its physical skills are the best. The boil style it masters allows it to possess immense strange power. At this time, seeing Uchiha Kong's Golden Susanoo, Kokuo snorted 2 breaths from his nose, kicked hard on the ground with his 4 feet, lowered his head and rushed over. The 5 sharp horns on its head are its most powerful weapons. As it ran, it continued to accelerate, and the ground trembled beneath its feet. The Iwagakure ninjas on the battlefield stared at this scene, holding their breath unconsciously. But in the distance, Matabi, who was in the body of Wooden Golem, sneered, "This guy from 5 tails only bumps into each other, it's so annoying." Boom! There was a muffled sound. 5 tails Kokuo and the Golden Samurai collided hard. The huge shock wave caused by the collision between the two spread out, making the Iwagakure ninjas present couldn't help but retreat. Everyone looked intently, only to see the Golden Warrior's hands firmly grasping Kokuo's 2 giant horns. Kokuo's powerful strange force impact was abruptly stopped by the Golden Warrior. Kokuo kept exerting force on his feet, steam boiled from his body, and powerful strange power continued to gush out. The ground beneath both sides' feet was cracked layer by layer. The powerful force shook the earth. This confrontation of pure power made everyone feel relaxed and happy, almost forgetting that this was a cruel battlefield. At this time, the Uchiha Sora Sage Jutsu chakra and eye power surged wildly. Susanoo suddenly exerted force with both hands, and the big hands that grabbed Kokuo's horns actually picked up Muakoku. In the extremely shocked eyes of everyone, Kokuo let out a wail. His body was involuntarily thrown 180 degrees, and Susanoo threw him over his shoulder and threw him hard to the ground. Rumble. Like a magnitude 18 earthquake, the ground of the entire battlefield was suddenly torn apart, and an extremely huge pit was created. Dust was flying and gravel was sputtering all over the sky. Everyone, retreat quickly. Huangtu hurriedly told everyone to stay away from the battlefield. After the smoke cleared, Kokuo climbed up from the pit shaking his head. Looking up at the Golden Warrior, a trace of fear flashed in his eyes. But as a tailed beast, it would not give in so easily. It opened its mouth directly, and a black chakra ball took shape instantly. The powerful chakra makes the surrounding air sink. That's the tailed beast Jade. Wooden Golem said solemnly from a distance. The tailed beast Jade is a powerful attack method used by every tailed beast. An ordinary tailed beast Jade is enough to destroy half a village. Its power makes all the major ninja villages extremely afraid, and it has also become a period of war between the major ninja villages. One of the trump cards. On the battlefield, if one tailed beast Jade is fired, no matter how many ninjas there are, it will be in vain. At this moment, Kokuo fired a black-tailed beast Jade that was as big as Susanoo's head. This scene made Huangtu, who originally didn't have much hope, feel a little bit of expectation in his heart. The tailed beast jade is like a cannonball, flying towards the golden warrior. Facing the tailed beast flying towards him, Uchiha Sora did not use the flying thunder god guide to divert it away. He controlled Susanoo, holding the energy sword in both hands and raising it high above his head. Immediately afterwards, he slashed at the tailed beast jade. In an instant, the black-tailed beast jade and Susanoo's long sword collided violently. Boom! Amidst the huge roar, the tailed beast jade burst out with intense light, but was blocked by the long sword. The long sword and the tailed beast jade burst out with intense light. Powerful energy overflowed in all directions. In the eyes of everyone who was extremely shocked, the golden warrior's long sword slashed forward with force, and actually cut the tailed beast jade in half from the middle. The two halves of the tailed beast flew backward and landed in the forest in the distance. Boom! Boom! The explosion was deafening, a huge light erupted from the ground, and the earth howled. Oh my god! He actually cut open the tailed beast jade. This guy is really a monster. Terrible, terrible. When the Iwagakure ninjas saw this scene, their eyes could not help but stare, and they were all frightened. He originally thought that the power of the tailed beast could compete with the golden samurai, but he didn't expect that the tailed beast that everyone feared would also be a younger brother in front of him. At this time, Uchiha Sora's Susanoo jumped directly to Five Tails, and rode on its back. Five Tails struggled hard, but Susanoo's legs clamped tightly on the opponent's body, and then he raised his fist and aimed at Kokuo's head and smashed it. Bang! 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 Susanoo did not use a long sword, but simply punched Five Tails Kokuo on the head with his fists one after another. This scene is like a warrior conquering a fierce horse, and the onlookers are stunned. Five Tails let out bursts of wails. Although the tailed beasts are all bodies of energy, they are also flesh and blood after materialization, and they can naturally feel pain. At this moment, Five Tails only felt that his head was buzzing, and he felt that he had never been so miserable in his life. Am I right? Is that a tailed beast? The two Kusanagi who were watching the battle from a distance stared blankly at this scene. It seems that beating a tailed beast, leader, is as simple as beating a dog. They felt that everything they saw today could be bragging about for the rest of their lives. On the other side, Matabi in Wooden Golem's body only felt chills running down his spine, and said to Wooden Golem, "You must never be an enemy of him in the future. This guy is too scary." Wooden Golem also nodded with deep sympathy, but frowned, "But I can't just give up on the 4th generation mission." "Are you still going to take action?" Matabi said. "I advise you not to be stupid, I don't want to be unlucky with you." Wooden Golem frowned and said thoughtfully, "Let's take this opportunity to sneak into the grass ninja village to observe the situation before making a decision." "Okay, if you and I work together, we can still protect ourselves," Matabi said helplessly. After all, Wooden Golem is the perfect Jinchuriki, and Matabi and she work very well together, and their combat power is much stronger than that of Five Tails alone. Five Tails can only be reckless, but they are not. As for Maji and others in Sunagakure village, they consciously gave up their mission and returned to the village. It was important to bring the information back. I believe that Lord Cascage would not punish them for the sake of this information. On the battlefield, Five Tails had been hit by Susanoo's fist, bleeding profusely, and kept wailing. But Five Tails still did not ask for mercy, showing an unyielding will. This is the arrogance of tailed beasts. Even if you can't defeat it, you will never ask for mercy from humans. Uchiha Sora frowned. Five Tails Jinchuriki Han is a ninja from Yenian village. If he is let back, he will definitely continue to fight against him. And it is almost impossible to absorb it into the beast organization. After all, after these two wars, Yenian village and himself have already formed an incomprehensible and deadly feud. In this case, there is only another way. Uchiha Sora's Susanoo raised his palm, and a huge spinning golden Rasengan appeared in his palm. Susanoo Rasengan. This is a way for Uchiha Sora to control Susanoo and directly use ninjutsu, which he is good at. The golden Rasengan pressed hard on the remaining Five Tails body. Boom! In an instant, powerful energy burst out, and golden light shot into the sky. Five Tails was knocked directly back into Jinchuriki's body while wailing. The golden light dispersed, as if someone had dug out a piece of the earth with a huge spoon, and a huge hole appeared. Five Tails Jinchuriki Han lay dying in the pit. Uchiha Kong took back Susanoo's power and summoned Danzo. While Han was unconscious, he controlled Danzo to directly activate the Distinguished Heavenly Gods in his right eye. Genjutsu Distinguished Heavenly Gods. Danzo's reincarnated body. Distinguished Heavenly Gods cooldown has been reset. Uchiha Kong is equivalent to a bug, allowing him to use, loyal to Uchiha Kong, on Han, becoming a spy lurking in Iwagakure, and working for Uchiha Kong, information transmission, command. Han, who was in a coma, had his will changed unknowingly. After releasing Distinguished Heavenly Gods, Danzo's Distinguished Heavenly Gods also fell into a long cooldown. Moreover, Uchiha Kong also discovered that, because he was reincarnated from the earth, the effect of the power of Distinguished Heavenly Gods on Danzo was obviously much worse than that of Shisui's real eyes. If it is the real eye of Shisui, it can completely change the opponent's will permanently. Danzo's Distinguished Heavenly Gods can only temporarily change the opponent's will. The timeliness is approximately 3 years. In other words, Han's will return to normal in 3 years. At that time, I'm afraid I will have to use Distinguished Heavenly Gods to control the opponent again. However, Uchiha Sora is not depressed about this, because if nothing happens, his physique will evolve into Hashirama Sage's human body in 3 years. By then, the pair of real Shisui eyes sealed in his body will have a cooling time of can fully recover. At that time, if you cast permanent Distinguished Heavenly Gods on Han, you can completely rewrite his will. These thoughts flashed through his mind. After controlling Danzo to cast Distinguished Heavenly Gods, Uchiha Sora placed a Flying Thunder God mark on Han's body. In this way, Five Tails Jinchuriki Han was completely under his control. After doing all this, he jumped out of the pit and faced the group of Iwagakure ninjas. Looking at the ninjas looking at him with fear in their eyes, Uchiha Sora showed a cold smile on his face. Everyone, are you ready to die? After going through a big battle, although his eye power was greatly consumed and there was not much Sage Jutsu chakra left, his momentum did not weaken much. Hearing the cold words spoken by Uchiha, all the Iwagakure ninjas present felt a chill down their spines. Huang Tu shouted at Uchiha Kong, "Uchiha Kong, what did you do to Han? He is probably close to death, right? Do you think you can save him with your power?" Uchiha smiled playfully. Huang Tu couldn't help but fell into silence after hearing this. They have failed miserably in this operation. Let alone rescuing Han. Whether everyone can survive in the hands of Uchiha Kong is a question. Moreover, he has already been imprinted with the mark of the Flying Thunder God, so even if he escapes to Tianyahai, Kakuzu will be of no use. On the battlefield, despair is spreading. All the Iwagakure ninjas felt a deep sense of powerlessness. Uchiha held a long sword in his hand and walked slowly towards Huang Tu and others. Just when he was about to quickly deal with these Iwagakure remnants, a short figure suddenly flew from the distant sky. A powerful breath of chakra, from far to near. Dust style the art of peeling off the original world. An old voice sounded. I saw a white light falling from the sky above Uchiha Sora, and it was in front of Uchiha Sora in the blink of an eye. What? It's Lord 3rd Tsuchikage. The survivors of Iwagakure suddenly burst into cheers. Huang Tu also looked at the figure in the sky with excitement. It's Dad. The power of dust style transcends the limits of blood inheritance. Any object in front of dust style will be reduced to its most primitive atoms. No physical body can withstand dust style's attack. Uchiha Sora's body is naturally no exception. Onoki. At this time, Uchiha Sora was under the original realm peeling technique, and the power of the Mangekyo in his eyes was flowing. God Realm of Heaven Duan Kong. An invisible space barrier stood in front of Uchiha Sora. The next second, the dust-style light beam falling from the sky fell on the barriers in this space, like the tide being blocked by tempered glass, unable to move forward at all. The light beam gradually dissipated, and Onoki, who was flying high in the sky, looked solemnly at Uchiha Sora below. This kid actually blocked my dust style. Is it the ability of his Mangekyo? It is indeed a bit tricky. Onoki murmured. Uchiha Sora looked up at Onoki flying in the sky and said calmly, I didn't expect the 3rd Tsuchikage to come here. What's wrong? Do you also want to go out and warm up? Onoki crossed his arms, looked down at Uchiha Sora, and said, Junior Uchiha, I admit that I made a miscalculation this time. If I hadn't had a premonition and came here specially, I'm afraid I would have lost my son this time. Iwa Hidden Village is about to lose Jinchuriki. Even so, the loss you brought to our Iwagakure village has been engraved in my heart. Uchiha Kong smiled faintly. Oh, so you want to personally avenge your dead subordinates? Be careful that your old bones are also here. When Onoki heard this, he just snorted and flew straight towards the Five Tails Jinchuriki Han in the pit. While flying, he said, Uchiha Kong, I won't let you use your words. We have indeed lost this war. Let's cease the war. Uchiha Kong smiled faintly and did not answer. He just watched quietly as Onoki flew into the deep hole, picked up Han and flew high into the sky. Then, Onoki ordered to Huangtu and others below, you all retreat, and leave the rest to me. When everyone in Yanyan heard this, many people breathed a sigh of relief and hurriedly retreated towards the rear. Several elite ninjas appeared next to Huangtu as bodyguards and personally escorted him away. Uchiha Kong watched this scene and did not take action. Onoki's desire to cease the war was indeed in line with his wishes, because he did not have much chakra at this time, and the remaining chakra in the yin seal was no longer enough to fully fill the chakra. The important thing is that at this moment, he felt that his eyesight had begun to become blurry. The recent repeated use of Mangekyo's power has caused these eyes to enter darkness. After careful calculation, Uchiha Sora experienced several battles today. The battle between Takigakure and Kakuzu, the battle between Huimura and Jiraiya, and now this battle with the Earth Kingdom army. The average ninja would be exhausted after these 3 battles. Although Uchiha Sora had some rest time in between, this time was not enough for him to fully recover. Fortunately, the chakra in the yin seal was replenished, so I was able to persevere. But now his eyes seemed to be overloaded. If he had another fierce battle with Onoki, the outcome would really be uncertain. Onoki's dust style, in addition to the Flying Thunder God's dodge, can only use Mangekyo's space barriers for frontal defense. And if Onoki desperately flies to the Grass Ninja village to cause a scene, it will cause a lot of trouble. Therefore, the moment Onoki appeared, Uchiha Sora knew that this war was over. Onoki knew that he had no chance of killing Sora Uchiha, who possessed the Flying Thunder God. At the same time, he is also worried about whether Uchiha Sora has other hidden abilities. If the two sides fight to the death, they will only benefit the other ninja villagers. The two looked at each other from a distance. Onoki said, Uchiha Sora, Iwagakure will bear in mind the loss and humiliation you have brought to Iwagakure. We will make you pay the price in the future. Uchiha said tit for tat, you should still care about whether you can survive to that day. HMPH. Anamu snorted coldly and led everyone to evacuate quickly. Watching Onoki leave, Uchiha Kong secretly breathed a sigh of relief. After looking around the devastated battlefield, he first put Danzo and Kakuzu away, and then asked Jutu Yikeng to clean up the battlefield. He activated the Flying Thunder God technique and returned directly to the leader's house. Upon returning to the chief's palace, Uchiha Sora hurriedly closed the Sharingan. But he found that his vision was still a little blurry, as if he was 300 degrees short-sighted. For a strong man like him, even if his vision is blurred, his combat effectiveness will not be affected much, but this feeling of myopia is still very uncomfortable. Ordinary Mangekyo is really a trap. Uchiha sighed involuntarily. Ding dong, at this moment, the system prompt suddenly came from my mind. Feeling the host's loss, your Sharingan expressed that he didn't want to go blind, so he decided to go into seclusion and practice, trying to break through the eternal way. The seclusion time is 3 years. No interruptions during this period. The sound of the system prompts Uchiha Sora was slightly startled. Sharingan wants to practice in seclusion. In order to break through eternity. Does it mean that after 3 years of retreat, one can break through to the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan? Okay, very 6. Uchiha Kong didn't know whether he was happy or sad. The good news is that after 3 years of retreat, my Mangekyo Sharingan should have a high chance of breaking through to the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. By then, the pupil power will be further improved, and there will be no need to worry about blindness. The worry is that in the next 3 years, he may no longer be able to use the Sharingan, or even the 3 Magatama Sharingan, otherwise it will interrupt the Sharingan's retreat and delay its progress. Without the ability to use Sharingan, Uchiha Sora loses a powerful defensive method, and Susanoo cannot use it, which will also have some impact on combat power. Sharingan has to be in seclusion for 3 years, so Uchiha Kong naturally doesn't dare to use it anymore. He had no choice but to make a decision that he would never use Sharingan's power again in the next 3 years. However, although there is some impact on combat power, it is not as serious as imagined. Because Uchiha Sora is an all-round ninja, he is outstanding in ninjutsu, genjutsu, medical treatment, etc. Even without Sharingan, his basic abilities are getting stronger and his strength is growing. What's more, he also has Sage Mode and Yin Seal. With the blessing of Sage Mode, his combat power is still top-notch, and the Yin Seal can provide him with strong battery life. Of course, there are also creation and regeneration, the art of hundreds of heroes, etc. In fact, Uchiha Kong only showed the power of Sharingan and Sage Jutsu this time, but did not show the power of Baihao. He has many trump cards. Even if he doesn't use Sharingan, he is still the top powerhouse in this ninja world. Moreover, Uchiha Kong's deeds of repelling the 5,000 ninja troops of Earth Kingdom this time will definitely make all forces in the ninja world re-evaluate him. He almost wiped out an army of 5,000 ninjas by himself, and even defeated the Five Tails Jinchuriki. This achievement makes people excited just thinking about it. Before provoking him, all forces in the ninja world must weigh their own weight and whether they have the power to compete head-on with 5,000 ninjas and a tailed beast. That night, Onoki withdrew the remaining defeated generals from the Kingdom of Grass and returned to the Kingdom of Earth. This time the losses were so huge and the war achieved nothing. As the third Tsuchikage, Onoki must give an explanation to the families of the fallen ninjas and to the daimyos of Earth Country who supported him. Moreover, Onoki now has to guard against other forces in the surrounding great ninja villages that are ready to take action. Previously, the ninjas in Iwagakure village were numerous and extremely powerful, and other surrounding countries had to be on guard against their attacks. But now, Yenian village, which suffered heavy losses, must start to guard against others attacking itself. Sand-hidden village of the Wind Country, Cloud-hidden village of the Thunder Country, and Konoha village of the Fire Country. These 3 major forces all have grudges against Iwagakure village. In the conference room of Sunagakure village, the 4th generation Kazekage held a meeting overnight. Maki brought back important information about Uchiha Sora's single-handed defeat of 5,000 ninja troops and the defeat of Five Tails Jinchuriki on the frontal battlefield, which stunned the elders in the conference room. It's unbelievable. We originally thought that Kusanagi village would not escape the disaster this time, but we didn't expect Uchiha Sora to have the powerful power to turn the tide. It's simply terrifying, said an elder with lingering fear. Fortunately, everyone did not agree to attack the Grass Ninja village, otherwise they would have suffered heavy losses this time. 4th generation Kazekage Rasa also frowned and said, Uchiha Kong is stronger than we imagined. The most important thing is that he is less than 13 years old now and there is still huge room for growth in the future. Everyone was silent. Yes, the really scary thing about Uchiha Sora is his potential in the future. I am afraid that in a few years, there will be another Uchiha Madara. List Uchiha Sora as the highest level of dangerous person. From now on, if the ninjas in the village encounter him while performing missions, they can abandon the mission without being punished. 4th generation Kazekage said suddenly. Everyone's body was shaken. Early the next morning, after taking a short break, Uchiha sat empty in the living room of the leader's mansion, with a map of the ninja world in front of him. He made crosses on the west, north, and east sides of the Kingdom of Grass territory, but only circled the area bordering the Country of Rain in the south. This means that the only crisis on the border of the Country of Grass is the pressure from the ninjas of the Country of Rain from the south. Because the northern border front with Takino Country ended with the complete victory of Grass Country. The Grass Ninjas brought back many prisoners and trophies from Takigakure village overnight. Even the son of the leader of Takigakure village became a prisoner, and the entire Takigakure village existed in name only. Therefore, most of the ninjas sent to the north were able to go to the south to support them. The ninja strength of the Rain Country to the south is not weak. Although the Uchiha clan went there to ask for a fight, it is a place with the support of the Akatsuki organization after all, so it should not be underestimated. Uchiha Sora will next focus on the south. However, according to the information coming from the front line, the fighting on the southern battlefield was not very intense. Mainly based on various small encounters, the Kingdom of Rain did not launch large-scale battles, but constantly sent ninja teams to carry out various raid missions. Although there were no big scenes or big movements, the secret confrontations were the most deadly. Rain Shinobi and Grass Ninja each suffered casualties, and the two sides seemed to be in a stalemate. The joining of the Uchiha clan gradually tilted the balance of this secret war towards the country of Grass. After sending extra forces to support Uchiha, the forces of the Rain country were obviously at a disadvantage. Uchiha-ji, have the casualties of the tribe been counted? In a tent near the border, Uchiha Yu, who was the temporary commander, asked Uchiha-ji in front of him. Uchiha said, "This time the whole clan is dispatched, our advantage is obvious. Although the opponent is not weak, our side is stronger, so our casualties are not many. The number counted so far is 38. 38 people." Uchiha Yu nodded and said, "Although there are not many casualties, these people are the heroes of our Uchiha clan. We must take them back to the village and bury them alive." Uchiha was a little confused after hearing this. Only 13 of these dead bodies have been found so far, and the whereabouts of the remaining 25 are unknown. Oh, his whereabouts are unknown. How could this happen? Could it be that we didn't clean up the battlefield in time? Uchiha frowned. No, we cleaned up the battlefield in a timely manner, but the disappearance of the bodies of those 25 people is indeed a bit strange. I suspect someone did it deliberately. HMPH. There have always been people who covet the Sharingan of our Uchiha clan. In the past, when we were still in Konoha, we didn't need to worry about these things. Now we don't have the conditions like Konoha village, so our clan must take precautions in this regard. Uchiha said leisurely. Try your best to track down the whereabouts of these corpses of the same race. Once you find any clues, report them to me. Okay. Uchiha nodded and prepared to leave. Uchiha Yu stopped him. By the way, this time our Uchiha clan finally had a chance to show our strength. When we encounter enemies with evil intentions, we must kill them all. Those Omegakure ninjas who dare to invade our border, even if we catch them, Uchiha, we must also eliminate them within the borders of our country. This time, we have to show off our momentum. Let everyone see the glory of our Uchiha clan. Rain Hidden Village in the Land of Rain. Covered by heavy rain all year round, the ground is crisscrossed by rivers and accumulated water. Under the gloomy sky, there are tall towers. At the top of the tallest tower, there were 3 people standing, 2 men and 1 woman. The 3 of them were wearing red cloud robes with black background. It was none other than Tendo Pain, the masked man, and Conan. At this time, Tendo Pain said, according to the information from Baizetsu, Kakuzu died at the hands of Uchiha Sora. Unexpectedly, this time Iwagakure, Takigakure and Asugakure failed to take down the Kusanagi. Murura and Uchiha Sora, Madara, what are your plans next? Pain looked at the masked man. The masked man, Uchiha Obito, said slowly, Kakuzu died after taking over the mission of Earth Kingdom. It was you who let him go on the mission. I will not comment on this matter. As for this war, since the power has been defeated, so we don't need to waste the power of the Kingdom of Rain. We should withdraw as soon as possible. This crisis has been resolved by Uchiha Kong, and we will wait for the next opportunity. Quote, Uchiha Kong is an obstacle to our plan to collect tailed beasts. Do I need to go to the Grass Ninja village to kill him personally? Tendo Pain said. Kill Uchiha Sora. Pain, I firmly disagree with you doing this. Uchiha Obito heard this and said coldly, the simultaneous attacks of the 3 forces failed to take down Kusanagi village. Do you think you can kill Uchiha Sora? Although Pain is strong, Uchiha Sora has the Flying Thunder God technique, so it is difficult to kill him. If he fails, Pain will capsize in the sewer and be killed by Uchiha Sora, which will cause big trouble. Considering this, Uchiha Obito would naturally not let Pain go find Uchiha Sora. Madara, we are from the Uchiha clan, how much do you know about Uchiha Kong? Conan on the side suddenly said, I think you should know more about his situation, right? Uchiha Obito turned to stare at her, and the 3 Magatama Sharingan released a scarlet light, and said lightly, Uchiha Kong is extremely ambitious and is the biggest stumbling block to the realization of peace in the ninja world. His talent is no less than that of me back then, and even better than Uchiha's. Itachi is much stronger, and if we want to deal with him, we must prepare a complete countermeasure. But Uchiha Kong has now caused us obstacles. Kakuzu's death has caused us a lot of losses. Are you indifferent? Konan said coldly. When they recruited Kakuzu into the Akatsuki organization, the first thing they valued was his special abilities, and the second was his love for money, which could bring a lot of money to the organization. After all, Kakuzu has been in the ninja world for so many years. He loves money, has many channels to make money, and has mission transactions with various forces in various countries. It also provides many channels for organizations to receive tasks. After Kakuzu's death, the Akatsuki organization's channels for receiving tasks were suddenly reduced, and financial resources became a big problem. There is no need to worry, we just need to secretly find opportunities to collect tailed beasts. It is unwise to go against Uchiha Sora now. Obito glanced at Konan and said, and after this war, he will soon become the ninja world focus. His appearance has destroyed the balance between the major forces in the ninja world, and a war is not far away from the ninja world, and then it will be our opportunity. Madara, I hope you can wait for such an opportunity as you said. Konan said coldly after hearing this. Just when the Kingdom of Rain was preparing to withdraw its troops, the support from Kurigakure village in the Land of Water finally arrived at Kusanagi village. The leader was Terumi Mei, followed by Ao, and another tall, fat ninja carrying a huge weapon behind his back. He was none other than the Watermelon Mountain Fugu Ghost, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. The arrival of the 3 people surprised Uchiha Sora. After all, being able to come to support at such a time shows Kurigakure village's support for him. The Grass Ninja Village is not without allies in this ninja world. In contrast, Kumo no Hidden Village of the Land of Thunder, which had recently invited Kusakunin Village to take part in the Chunin exam, showed no movement. However, Terumi Mei and the others did not expect that after they arrived, the battle here was basically over. Iwagakure Village was completely defeated, and Kusakunin Village seemed to not need help. Sora, I didn't expect you to be so fast. Before I came, you were already over. What a speed in combat. I heard that this time you defeated the forces of Iwagakure village and their forces by yourself. Jinchuriki, it seems you have become stronger again. We didn't need to do anything. In the leader's house, Uchiha Kong entertained the 3 of Terumi Mei in the living room. Terumi Mei toasted to Uchiha Kong and said with a smile. Facing Terumi Mei's compliment, Uchiha Sora just smiled faintly, raised his glass and drank the wine and said, I'm honored that you can come to support me. Although I don't need your help this time, this friendship, I will keep it in mind. Terumi Mei heard this, her beautiful eyes stared at Uchiha Sora, she couldn't help but cover her mouth and chuckled. In that case, do you mind if we stay here for a few more days? Of course it's no problem. Uchiha nodded and said, I believe it won't be long before you can participate in our celebration meeting. Then we'll see. Terumi Mei smiled. The 3 of them settled down temporarily in the Grass Ninja Village. In the next few days, on the southern front, the ninjas of Yuyin Village were retreating steadily. 3 days later, Yakushi Nanoyu reported battlefield information to Uchiha Sora. Chief, the ninjas of the Country of Rain are gradually withdrawing from the border of the Country of Grass. We have initially won a complete victory in this war. Do we want to pursue it? What are the casualties in this battle? Uchiha Sora, who was in the leader's mansion, asked as he looked at the pharmacist No in front of him. Pharmacist No Nayu said, more than 100 casualties and 300 enemies were wiped out. Judging from the casualties, the situation is very favorable to Kusanagi village. Therefore, the Uchiha clan members on the front line are in a high fighting spirit, especially hoping to take this opportunity to counterattack into the Country of Rain. But Uchiha Kong pondered for a while, then shook his head and said, give me the order. After defeating the Omegakure ninja, let them return to the village immediately. No Nayu nodded and walked away. The Country of Rain is the base camp of the Akatsuki organization. Letting the Uchiha clan counterattack into the Country of Rain is actually no different than committing suicide. After all, Yuyin village has long been built by Konan and Nagato into an impregnable place, and it is no different from a dragon's pond or a tiger's den. Of course Uchiha Sora will not let Uchiha's tribe take risks again. After the order was issued, Uchiha Yu, who was on the front line, was very puzzled. But due to Uchiha Kong's order, he could only order the tribesmen to go back. In the next few days, Uchiha Sora has been dealing with some post-war issues. He ordered people to count the total number of casualties in this battle, and then arranged a memorial ceremony. According to statistics, more than 300 ninjas died in Kusakunin village during this battle. Some of these casualties were killed on the Tokigakure front at the beginning. Some of them died in a secret battle with the ninjas of Hidden Rain village on the southern battlefield. Judging from the data, the casualties in Kusakunin village were not large in this war. However, there are not many ninjas in the Kusunoin village. Including the ninjas of the Uchiha clan, the total number is less than 2,000. After losing 300 people, the number of ninjas in the village is at most 1,500, which is still dwarfed by the Great Ninja Village. Fortunately, this time, as the main force of the Earth Kingdom, all the combat power was defeated by Uchiha with one person. And the power shown by Uchiha Sora in a head-on confrontation with the Earth Kingdom army. It has become a topic that is talked about by both civilians and ninjas from top to bottom in the Grass Ninja Village. That war, through word of mouth from the two grass ninjas who were watching the battle at the time, had almost deified Uchiha Sora's strength. One man killed 5,000 enemy troops and beat the tailed beast to the ground. This brilliant record allows Uchiha to become a god in a single battle. In addition to the title of White Shinigami, Uchiha Sora also has the title of Golden God of War. The Golden God of War naturally refers to the image of Uchiha when he opens Susanoo. After paying homage to the victims, there was a celebration meeting in the Grass Ninja Village. The celebration lasted for 3 days, and Terumi and Mei were naturally happy to participate as guests. At the celebration meeting, everyone in the Uchiha clan was extremely drunk. Because they showed excellent fighting ability in this war, Sharingan's power shone brightly, gained the respect of other ninjas, and better integrated into the village. Of course, what makes the Uchiha people happy the most is that the Uchiha family finally has a strong man who can lead them to strength and glory. Let the clan members be full of confidence in the future of the family. The Sao Ninja village was decorated with lights and the atmosphere was joyful. After the celebration party, Terumi Mei and the others returned to the Kingdom of Water. And Uchiha Sora started the post-war arrangements. He also sent people to retrieve the Dirty Earth elites who had been sealed before, one by one from the battlefield, lifted the seal, and allowed them to see the light of day again. Then, he submitted a letter of invitation to Onoki of the Earth Country, stating his intention to launch a war against them. After Onoki received Uchiha Sora's letter of invitation, he immediately held a meeting and held a discussion. As a result, he could only ask for peace talks with Uchiha Sora. Onoki's reply to his request for peace talks was naturally expected by Uchiha Sora. This is also the purpose of Uchiha Sora's invitation to challenge. As long as Onoki has some sense, he will not continue to fight with him. Peace talks are the only way out. The location of the peace talks was in the neutral Iron Kingdom. Uchiha Kong asked Onoki to make various war compensations. After some bargaining between the two parties, Uchiha Kong finally got a lot of benefits. This includes a large amount of money, as well as the ownership of part of the territory on the border between the Kingdom of Grass and the Kingdom of Earth. After the peace talks between the two parties, Onoki returned to the village and was so angry that he became seriously ill for 3 days and almost returned to the Pure Land. The fact that the Earth Country requested peace talks from the Grass Country was spread by people who were interested in it, causing an uproar in the ninja world. This is the first time that a big country has bowed its head to a small country and begged for peace. Because of this, Uchiha Sora's reputation has almost reached its peak in the ninja world. All of a sudden, all kinds of people came to the Grass Ninja Village. Some asked to see Uchiha Sora, some wanted to join the Grass Ninja Village, and many more were task orders from the rich. In people's eyes, Kusanagi Village has become a very popular existence. If Kusanagi Village wants to develop, fresh blood is very important. Due to its original size, if the current village wants to develop and grow, it can only expand by accepting other ninjas. After this short war, the increasing number of task orders and the rising emotions of the ninjas in Kusanagi Village surprised Uchiha Sora. The development of Sao Ninja Village seems to have entered a stage of rapid development. The original territory of the country of Grass was only a small piece of territory between the big powers. Now, the country of Grass has directly annexed the country of Taki, and its territory has more than doubled in size. As the leader, Uchiha Sora has more and more things to deal with. However, he has always liked to delegate power and act as a hands-off boss. After throwing all the documents to the secretary Yi Kang, he focused on his own cultivation. Because Sharingan will be in seclusion for 3 years, there will be many fewer methods available to him. So Uchiha Kong decided to study a few more ninjutsu. For example, adding other attribute changes to Rasengan. For example, further changes are used on Reikiri. There is also further understanding of Sage Mode. Of course, besides practicing, we must not forget to train Uchiha Izumi and Shiro. On this day, Wooden Golem, who had been staying in the Grass Ninja Village for more than half a month, finally found a Uchiha target. The target is very young, a little girl about 10 years old. But her talent is very good. Under her unintentional follow-up observation, she discovered that this little girl has not yet become a ninja, but has already activated the double Magatama Sharingan. If a child with this talent can be brought back to Union Village, she will definitely be able to research some of Sharingan's secrets. No matter how bad it is, you can still get a pair of Sharingan with good quality. Wooden Golem used his transformation technique to disguise himself as a passerby and followed the little girl to a flat training field. On the training ground, there was another young Uchiha man waiting there. "Brother Yu, I'm here, come and train with me." The little girl quickly ran towards the young man and shouted. The young man is none other than Yu Uchiha, and the little girl is his sister, Uchiha Mai. "You guys, I have a rare day off today, why can't you let me take a break?" Uchiha said, petting her head lovingly. No, I want to practice, I want to become stronger. In the future, I will go to the battlefield with my brother to kill the enemy," Uchiha said coquettishly to her brother. Uchiha Yu shook his head and said helplessly, "You are still young now. My brother is here with you, so don't worry about the war. I will not let you face those dangers. My idol Uchiha Sora Senpai, he is only 3 years older than me, but he is already so powerful, and I am still so weak. Hasn't your idol always been me, your eldest brother? When did you become our leader?" Uchiha said speechlessly. "TCH, are you better than Sora Senpai?" Uchiha rolled her eyes at her brother and said, "Kora Senpai is the idol of all of us now. Just step aside. Okay, you really don't know how to take care of my brother's self-esteem at all. Come on, it seems it's time for you to see my strength, your brother." The brother and sister soon started a battle. As the pillar of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Yu easily dealt with his sister's attack. The two of them were going back and forth, and the battle was fierce. Suddenly, Uchiha Yu, who was dealing with his sister's attack, felt a huge sense of crisis. Immediately afterwards, a claw shadow flashed past. The next second, Uchiha Yu was severely injured, his body flew out directly, and fell heavily to the ground. Subsequently, Wooden Golem, who transformed into an ordinary blonde woman using a transformation spell, appeared on the scene. On the 5 fingers of her hands were a pair of sharp cat claws. The cat's paws were dripping with blood. Uchiha Yu slowly got up from the ground. A deep claw mark appeared on his chest, and blood was flowing. "Who are you?" he shouted with a shocked look on his face. He only used a small amount of energy when training with his sister, but the woman in front of him was able to hurt himself with a sneak attack, which showed that the other party was not simple. Wooden after Golem injured Uchiha Yu with 1 blow, he did not continue to attack. Instead, he turned around and stared at Uchiha Hanamamai, who was already dumbfounded, and raised his hand to grab him. I saw that the little girl who just now was shouting about becoming stronger and going to the battlefield was now standing on the same spot, trembling all over and looking at the Wooden Golem in front of her. Facing the murderous intent released by the Wooden Golem, a little girl who had never experienced war would have been frightened. "Don't touch my sister," Uchiha roared angrily and rushed forward dragging his seriously injured body. HMPH. Overestimating one's own capabilities. Wooden Golem opened his mouth and spat out a blue fire rat jade at Uchiha Yu. Uchiha Yu's expression changed and he hurriedly dodged. But the next moment, the blue fire rat jade suddenly fired out several blue fireball tracking bullets, all of which rushed towards Uchiha Yu. Uchiha Yu instantly opened the 3 Magatama Sharingan and moved left and right to dodge. However, due to his physical injury, his physical flexibility was greatly affected. After dodging several times, it was finally inevitable. Seeing the frightened expression on his sister's face, he felt very anxious. At this time, the Flying Thunder God Kunai in Uchiha Yu's ninja tool bag suddenly glowed faintly. At the same time, Uchiha Kong's brows in the leader's mansion moved slightly. The next second, Uchiha Sora's figure appeared in the training ground and stopped in front of Uchiha Yu. Chief, Uchiha Yu was pleasantly surprised. As soon as Uchiha Sora appeared, he raised his hand and slapped one of the oncoming blue fireballs. The small fireball was shot away by Uchiha Sora's palm on the spot and dissipated in the air. Immediately after, Uchiha pulled up Uchiha Yu and avoided other blue fireballs with a few dodges. He stood in front of Wooden Golem and looked at her seriously. "It's you, Uchiha Sora." Wooden Golem's face changed and he exclaimed. "Wooden Golem of Cloud Hidden Village. Did you use the transformation technique? Unfortunately, I have heard about your skills for a long time, and you can't hide your identity from me." Uchiha glanced at Wooden Golem's cat paws and said coldly, "I didn't expect that you would hide in our village and try to attack my people. You were really audacious." At this time, he had orange-red fairy eye shadow on the eyelids of his eyes. Because he was practicing Sage Mode in the leader's mansion before. It was the powerful perception of Sage Mode that allowed him to clearly capture the anomaly here, directly locate the coordinates of the Flying Thunder God Kunai on Uchiha Yu, and teleport over. As for Uchiha Sora in Sage Mode, the chakra is extremely powerful. He just slapped away the small blue fireball caused by the Wooden Golem with one palm, but his palm was only slightly red, and there was no actual burn. "Chief, you showed up just in time." Uchiha Yu couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw Uchiha Sora appearing. "Her target should be my sister, please don't let her hurt my sister." Wooden Golem looked at Uchiha Sora in front of him, a look of panic flashed across his face. The shadow of the famous tree of people, Uchiha is now so famous that even the power of Jinchuriki will be eclipsed in front of him. Wooden Golem planned to quietly take away a member of the Uchiha tribe and return to the village. Unexpectedly, he was caught face to face by Uchiha as soon as he took action. Now she is in a dilemma and has become very passive. But Uchiha Kong didn't give her a chance to continue thinking, and directly raised his hand and shot a kunai at her. Wooden Golem quickly dodged to avoid it. The kunai fell right next to Uchiha. Whoosh! The Flying Thunder God flashed, and Uchiha Sora appeared next to Mai Hanama. Wooden Golem saw this and opened his mouth to shoot a huge fireball into the Uchiha sky. Uchiha formed a seal with one hand and slapped it on the ground. Earth style wall. A thick earth wall rose from the ground, blocking the fireball. Boom! The fireball hit the earth wall and made a violent explosion. However, this earth wall is released in Sage Mode, and the fireballs produced by Wooden Golem cannot break through the earth wall's defense at all. Taking this opportunity, Wooden Golem turned around and fled towards the outside of Kusanagi village. Uchiha Sora just smiled slightly when he saw this, and ran after him. Seeing Uchiha chasing the enemy away, Uchiha Yu said to his sister, "Since the leader has taken action, there should be nothing for us here. Let's go home." He knew that with the leader's strength, he would certainly not be able to help even if he caught up. Wooden Golem is running away frantically outside the grass ninja village. She is very fast, and few people in the entire ninja world can catch up with her. However, Uchiha Sora is even faster. He turned on Sage Mode, and his powerful perception could easily cover the entire kingdom of grass. And in the land of grass, he has already left many Karakura landmarks. Wooden it is almost impossible for Golem to escape from the kingdom of grass. She had just escaped less than 10 kilometers outside the Kusanagi village when she was shocked to find Uchiha Sora waiting for her not far ahead. "Uchiha Sky, you were really fast." Wooden Golem stopped and looked at Uchiha Sky's path coldly. She knew she couldn't escape Uchiha Sora's pursuit. Staring at Uchiha Sora, Wooden Golem raised his long hair like a frightened cat, and a blue cat demon pattern chakra surged out of his body. Directly borrowed from the second-tailed Matabi's chakra. Whoosh! After borrowing the two-tailed chakra, Wooden Golem's speed became extremely fast. Her figure flashed and appeared in front of Uchiha Sora as if teleporting. She raised her hands and moved the sharp cat claws with her fingers towards Uchiha. Sora grabbed it hard. Uchiha took a step back and avoided the blow. He held the long sword at his waist with his right hand and swung it violently, then slashed at Wooden Golem with his backhand sword. Wooden Golem raised his claws, and the sharp cat claws blocked the sharp sword. When the long sword and the cat's claws rubbed violently, bursting out bursts of sparks. Uchiha pushed hard with the long sword in the air, forcing the Wooden Golem back while forming a seal with one hand with the other hand. Water-style Water Dragon Bullet Technique. He opened his mouth and spurted out a water dragon that was stronger than an ordinary water dragon, slamming into the Wooden Golem. Wooden Golem was caught off guard and was hit hard by the water dragon. His body flew backwards and broke many trees along the way. She was about to struggle to get up, but saw Uchiha forming another seal with one hand. Lightning-style Ground Walk. A strong electric current was instantly transmitted along the water flow under the feet to the Wooden Golem. Wooden Golem's body was instantly electrocuted, and his body spasmed painfully under the powerful current. After the electric current passed, Golem fell to the ground by Wooden. Although she is a ninja from Cloud Hidden Village in the Land of Thunder, she has a fire attribute and is not very resistant to thunder. What's more, Uchiha Sora's ninjutsu is activated under the Sage Jutsu Chakra, and ordinary C-level ninjutsu can be used. A-level effect. Wooden Golem nature is overwhelming. However, Uchiha Sora did not approach her, but looked at her quietly without moving. At this time, the blue cat demon chakra continued to surge from Wooden Golem's body. Suddenly, powerful chakra power rose into the sky. Roar! The next second, a huge cat-shaped tailed beast with blue chakra arrogance surging all over his body appeared in front of Uchiha Sora. Has the power of the second tail finally come out? Uchiha Kong looked up at the hill-like second tail Matabi. He looked indifferent in sage mode. The huge two-tailed Matabi looked down at Uchiha Sora. Fire! The second tail opened its mouth and spit out a red flame ball, hitting Uchiha Sora. Water-style Waterfall Jutsu. Uchiha opened his mouth and spat out a huge stream of water, turning into a waterfall-like torrent, and rushed towards the fireball emitted by the second tail. The huge Sage Jutsu Chakra uses the Great Waterfall Jutsu on an extremely large scale. The torrent formed by the waterfall quickly overwhelmed Urwei's fireball. It was like a flood, and Urwei's flame ball was extinguished by water before it could explode. The water was like a surging river, directly covering Urwei's body, forming a large lake nearby. Urwei jumped out of the water in a hurry, with blue chakra arrogance surging all over his body. It is a fire-attributed tailed beast, its ability is to use fire, and its greatest fear is water. Uchiha Sora's water style is so powerful that even the two tails are frightened. He stood on the water, looked at Urwei quietly, and said calmly, "Whatever tricks you have, use them all." Provoked by Uchiha Sora, the two tails opened their mouths to condense a dark-tailed beast jade and sprayed it towards Uchiha Sora. The power of tailed beast jade cannot be underestimated. But in front of Uchiha Sora, the tailed beast Tama is not a threat at all. He opened his hands, and the space in front of him suddenly sank, like a big net, trapping the tailed beast jade. It is the flying thunder god who guides thunder. The tailed beast jade was blocked by the web of space and slowly fell into the gap of time and space. On an uninhabited island in Yuanli mainland, a flying thunder god kunai was inserted here. Suddenly, a dark-tailed beast jade appeared above the kunai, and then hit the island hard. Boom! The animals and plants on the island suffered a disaster, and the tailed beast jade exploded like a nuclear bomb, bursting out with intense light. The light rose into the sky and enveloped the entire island. The huge vibration directly caused huge waves to rise on the surrounding sea surface. The huge waves spread in all directions, and it took a long time to fall into calm. On Uchiha Sora's side, after he removed the tailed beast jade, an energy ball quickly condensed and formed in his hand, turning into a white spiral shuriken in the blink of an eye. Wind release. Spiral shuriken. With a low shout, Uchiha Kong directly raised his hand and threw the wind release shuriken in the direction of the second tail. In Sage mode, Uchiha Sora's wind release shuriken can be thrown directly. After throwing the spiral shuriken, it quickly hit Urwei's chest. Boom! The second tail was hit from the front, and the wind-release spiral shuriken turned into a white storm and exploded on the second tail. The powerful force knocked the second tail away. But this is not enough. I saw Uchiha pushing forward with his empty palm, chasing after the two tails that were knocked away. Under his palm, an extremely huge blue chakra ball suddenly appeared. The chakra ball is 10 meters in diameter. The sphere is huge, almost equal to half the size of a tailed beast. Sage Art Massive Rasengan. The huge chakra ball stuck hard to Urwei's body. Urwei let out a scream, and after the wind-release spiral shuriken, he withstood another powerful attack. The powerful Sage Art knocked the second tail away again. This time, Urwei was so severely injured that he could not recover in a short time. Boom! The huge two-tailed body turned into white smoke and disappeared. Instead, lay the ruins, dressed in rags by the wooden golem. I saw her messy hair, staring blankly at the sky above. After a fierce battle just now, she and the two tails in her body couldn't defeat Uchiha Sora. Finally, she experienced the power of Uchiha Sora personally. If Jinchuriki is a monster, then Uchiha Sora is the monster among monsters. You lost. Uchiha came to the ruins and looked down at the wooden golem. The wooden golem's eyes fell on Uchiha Sora's handsome but cold face, and he smiled bitterly. Yes, then what are you going to do with me next? Uchiha Kong narrowed his eyes slightly. Don't worry, I will give you the appropriate treatment. Wooden Golem said. As expected of Uchiha Kong, I came here under orders this time. Aren't you afraid that the fourth Hokage will raise an army to punish you? Uchiha Sora, you have just experienced a big battle with the Earth Country. Do you still have the energy to fight with the Hidden Cloud Village again? After a pause, she continued. Are you threatening me? Uchiha's voice was cold. No, I'm just stating a fact. By Wooden Golem. Uchiha Kong suddenly laughed. It seems you're scared. Afraid. It's just a matter of death. I've been prepared to wake up since I became a ninja. Wooden Golem said calmly. Don't worry, I won't let you die. Uchiha Kong smiled lightly. His figure flashed and came to Wooden Golem. He raised his hand and patted her body, leaving a mark. By Wooden Golem's expression changed. What did you do to me? It's nothing, you should know, this is just leaving a coordinate on you. Uchiha said calmly. You fool. By Wooden Golem was furious in an instant. Once the coordinate mark is left, it means that one's life and death are in the hands of Uchiha Kong. After all, Uchiha Sora can use the Flying Thunder God to make a surprise attack at any time, making it impossible to defend against him. After leaving the mark on Wooden Golem, Uchiha Sora carried her exhausted back to Kusanagi village. He imprisoned her in a room full of sealing spells, and used the seal to suppress the tailed beast chakra in her body, preventing her from breaking free from the shackles and escaping. After doing all this, Uchiha Kong returned to the leader's house, and then called the pharmacist Nanoyu. He wrote a secret message and handed it to her, saying, send this secret message to Union Village and give it to 4th Hokage. After giving instructions to Nanoyu, Uchiha Sora showed a smile on his face. This time, Wooden Golem was caught by him, which gave him an excuse to blackmail Union Village. It is impossible for the 4th Hokage to redeem Wooden Golem without causing some blood from the Hidden Cloud Village. As for letting Wooden Golem join the Beast organization, Uchiha Sora is not in a hurry right now. Because he already had an easier way. Just wait until 3 years later, the direct physical evolution into Hashirama Sen's human body, coupled with Shisui's distinguished heavenly gods, then directly use distinguished heavenly gods to rewrite Jinchuriki's will. It also saves me having to lobby them one by one. The next day, the secret message written by Uchiha had been delivered to Kumogakure village and placed on the desk of 4th Hokage. After 4th Hokage saw the contents of the secret message, he couldn't help but became furious. Uchiha Sora, how dare you arrest my Jinchuriki from Hidden Cloud Village and threaten me? It's simply abominable. He smashed the desk in front of him with his palm, chakra surged from his body, and he looked extremely angry. Hokage-sama, what happened? Secretary Azabui heard the movement and ran in and said in panic. Hokage explained. The Wooden Golem mission failed and has been captured by Uchiha Sora. What? Master Wooden Golem was actually captured? Azabui said in shock. You must know that Wooden Golem is the strongest person in Kumogakure village after Hokage and 8 Tails Jinchuriki Killer Bee. Unexpectedly, she was captured. This is really a big deal. Raikage added. Furthermore, Uchiha Kong proposed terms for negotiation with me. He wants to get our village's lightning-style bodybuilding secret, as well as my lightning-style armor secret. What? Then Raikage-sama, do you want to agree? Azabuye couldn't help but ask. Nonsense. How could I agree to him? I will find a way to rescue the wooden golem. If that doesn't work, I will launch a war against the grass ninja village. Fourth Raikage said angrily. Master Raikage, please calm down. Uchiha Kong is in the spotlight right now, and his strength cannot be underestimated. If we blindly launch a war, I'm afraid it will cause more trouble. Azabuye's face changed and he hurriedly advised. After hearing this, Fourth Raikage suddenly calmed down and nodded. What you said makes sense. Go notify the elites in the village to gather in the conference room. The capture of Wooden Golem was already a threat to Union Village, and they had no choice but to be careless. Just when Fourth Raikage convened a meeting of elites. After Uchiha left a shadow clone in the leader's mansion, he came to Takigakure village. After the country of Taki was merged into the territory of the country of Grass, all the ninja captives of the country of the original Taki were released, but they had been deprived of their right to autonomy. Shibuki, the son of the original leader, could only live in the country of Grass as a hostage. Village, Takigakure village here is temporarily managed by Zabuza. Compared to this, Uchiha Sora prefers the living environment here in Takigakure village. It is located close to mountains and rivers, in a secluded location. There is also a towering giant tree here, which is extremely rich in natural energy. After Uchiha Sora came here, he built a cabin under the towering tree and hung a flying thunder god kunai in the cabin. After doing this, he sat down cross-legged in the cabin and began to sense the natural energy around him and comprehend the mystery of the power of nature. As soon as he started to understand, Uchiha discovered that the natural energy around here was indeed several times or even dozens of times richer than other places. This is really an excellent place to practice natural energy. Time passes unconsciously while experiencing the natural energy. Uchiha Sora almost delegates power to his subordinates to deal with matters in the Grass Ninja Village. Because of his previous performance in the war, more and more people in the ninja world joined the Grass Ninja Village. The power of the Grass Ninja Village is also developing faster and faster, and there is a faint trend of becoming the 6th largest ninja village in the ninja world. Chief, there is a message from the Kingdom of Thunder, requesting negotiations with you. On this day, Uchiha Sora was comprehending the energy of nature under the big tree in Takigakure village, when a subordinate came to report. Uchiha Kong opened his eyes, removed the fairy facial makeup from his face, and a light flashed in his eyes. It seems that Fourth Raikage is not too impulsive. With his character, he can still bear not to start a war, which can be regarded as very rational. But if it were Killer Bee who was captured, I'm afraid he wouldn't be so rational, right? 3 days later, the negotiations officially began in Union Village in the country of Thunder. Uchiha Sora brought some of his subordinates to attend the negotiations. This is his second time coming to Union Village. The last time he came here, he just came to watch Chunin take the exam. Unexpectedly, this time the relationship between the two parties changed from harmonious to tense. However, Uchiha Kong always had a calm smile on his face and calmly faced the serious-looking Fourth Raikage. The two parties met in the conference room. When Fourth Raikage saw him, he couldn't help but said angrily, Uchiha Kong, please let me go by Wooden Golem. I saw that his aura was surging, and the powerful chakra burst out, with overwhelming power. Uchiha Kong raised his eyebrows when he saw this, and said calmly, what? Fourth Raikage, are you trying to bully me? The guards following Uchiha Sora were Uchiha Yu and Uchiha Yami. Seeing this, they quickly took a step forward to protect him. Uchiha waved his hand in the air, signaling the guards to step back. He took a step forward and looked directly into Fourth Raikage's eyes, and said slowly, Fourth Raikage, you have to know that it was Wooden Golem from your village who took the lead in attacking my people, and he was caught by me. It's true, you want me to let her go, don't you want to pay the price? HMPH, isn't it up to you to decide whether Wooden Golem takes action against the Uchiha clan? You want to achieve your goal by slandering her, but I will definitely not admit it. Fourth Raikage said. Oh, call me slander. It seems that you, fourth Raikage, are not sincere in negotiating. Uchiha narrowed his eyes slightly and said in a cold voice. Seeing this scene, the people in Union Village hurriedly persuaded fourth Raikage to calm down. Fourth Raikage took advantage of the situation and took a breath, sat down in the conference room, and said, Uchiha Sora, we don't need to have useless arguments anymore, let's sit down and discuss the terms. Uchiha Kong smiled faintly, sat down, and said, you should be very clear about my conditions. Hand over your lightning-style bodybuilding secret, and I will release the wooden golem. While Uchiha Sora was negotiating with fourth Raikage, they were in the mountains behind Kumogakure village. In a canyon called Yunlei Gorge, a series of raps echoed in the valley. Xiaoba Xiaoba, I'm so bored. Idiot brother, I won't let you leave. Xiaoba Xiaoba, I'm so bored. Why don't you think about it and sneak away? On a mountain road, a dark-skinned man wearing sunglasses was wandering around singing and dancing. None other than the Eight-Tails Jinchuriki Killer Bee. Suddenly, two figures descended from the sky and landed in front of Killer Bee. I saw these two people wearing black robes with red clouds. One of them had a stern face and orange hair. Another wears a swirly mask. It is Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki organization, and Obito, the masked man. Killer Bee was startled when he saw the two people suddenly appearing. Immediately afterwards, a strange accent sounded from Killer Bee's mouth. Yo yo, two mysterious friends, what are you doing? Eight-Tails Killer Bee, we need the power of the tailed beast in your body. Facing Killer Bee's strange tone and rap, Tiandao Pain remained unmoved and said coldly. Killer Bee was suddenly alert. You want Xiaoba's power? You have to ask me whether Mr. Killer Bee agrees. After saying that, Killer Bee raised his sword and attacked Pain. Pain dodged again and again. Killer Bee's sharp sword struck Pain like raindrops. Pen, the strength of the Eight-Tails Jinchuriki cannot be underestimated, you have to be careful. The masked man reminded from the side. Shenri Tianzhong. After hearing this, Pain immediately raised his hand and waved, and a powerful repulsive force burst out from his body. Caught off guard, Killer Bee was hit hard and his body was instantly ejected by the powerful repulsion. Boom! Killer Bee fell heavily to the ground, with a look of shock on his face. Bee, look carefully at that guy's eyes. At this time, Eight-Tails and Killer Bee reminded him. Those eyes, is there anything special about them? Killer Bee, who has lived in Yunlei Gorge all year round, does not recognize Pain's reincarnation eyes. That's the Samsara Eye. It's the legendary Eye of Sage of Six Paths. Eight-Tails said solemnly. When mentioning Sage of Six Paths, Eight-Tails' tone was a little strange. The eyes of Sage of Six Paths. Xiaoba, it seems we have to go all out. Killer Bee jumped up from where he was. He rested his limbs on the ground, and 8 red chakra tails emerged from behind him. The powerful chakra aura swept all around instantly, forming a violent wind and spreading everywhere. Whoosh! After borrowing the power of 8 tails, Killer Bee's speed became surprisingly fast. In a flash, he appeared in front of Pain. He raised his hand and attacked Pain's neck. Thunder Plow Hot Knife. The powerful speed and strength will move Pain's head almost instantly. But Pain's reaction was not slow at all. He paused on the spot without making the slightest move, and the pupil power in Samsara's eyes flickered. A powerful repulsive force centered on him and spread to all directions again. Buzz! Shinra Tianzhong. Killer Bee's attack was only a few centimeters away from Pain's neck, but his body was forcibly thrown away again by the repulsive force. He came very quickly, but was ejected even faster. Killer Bee's body was like a cannonball, drawing a long trajectory in midair and slamming into a hill. The small mountain bag could not withstand this huge rebound force and shattered into pieces. With just one blow, Killer Bee suffered tremendous damage. Almost knocked unconscious. Bee, cheer up. The 8 tails in his body hurriedly awakened his consciousness. Killer Bee shook his groggy head, blood dripping from his forehead to the ground. Hachi, thank you. Killer Bee stood up from the ruins again, his injuries quickly recovered under the power of the tailed beast. The next moment, an even greater force surged out of Killer Bee's body. His body instantly transformed into a huge octopus. 8 Tails Gyuki appears. Uchiha Sora and 4th Raikage are in intense negotiations. At Uchiha Sora's insistence, 4th Raikage had to agree to his original conditions. That is to say, the lightning-style body forging method and the lightning-style armor secret technique are exchanged for the wooden golem. The two sides are preparing to reach an agreement and shake hands to make peace. Suddenly, there was a loud rumble. The earth shook, and suddenly a light reaching into the sky lit up in the distance. What? That's the direction of Unlay Gorge. The place where Hokage saw the huge light outside the window for the first time was Eight Tails Jinchuriki, where his younger brother Killer Bee lived and trained. Hokage's expression suddenly changed. At the same time, a ninja from the intelligence department of Union Village came to report. Lord Hokage, it's not good. We sense that an enemy broke into the Cloud Thunder Gorge and attacked Lord Killer Bee. Fourth Hokage was furious in an instant. He no longer cared about the negotiation with Uchiha Namaki, jumped up, broke the window and rushed out. The surrounding Kumogakure ninjas hurriedly chased after him. This sudden scene made Uchiha Kong frown. Chief, it seems that Cloud Hidden Village has encountered some trouble. Should we go and take a look? Said the subordinate next to Uchiha Kong. Uchiha shook his head. This is Union Village, let's stay here and don't meddle in other people's business. And the people in Union Village may not let us go there. However, even though he said this, he still had a bad feeling in his heart. At this critical moment of the negotiation, something happens at Yunlei Gorge, which is likely to affect this negotiation. I don't know if Union Village is here to create suspicion, or if there is really another accident. Uchiha sat quietly in the conference room, waiting for news from Hokage. Time passed bit by bit. The wait was probably less than 2 hours. Fourth Hokage re-entered the conference hall. At this time, he was full of evil energy. As soon as he entered the conference room, he fixed his eyes on Uchiha Sora and roared, "You Uchiha Sora! I didn't expect that this negotiation was fake. Attacking my brother Killer Bee is what you really want, the goal of." Along with Hokage, there were also a large number of Union Village elites. These people surrounded Uchiha Sora in the conference room, and they all looked at Uchiha Sora eagerly. Fourth Hokage, are you slandering the leader? Uchiha Yu, who was next to Uchiha Kong, stood up and shouted. Uchiha waved his hand to signal him to be quiet, and then said calmly, Fourth Hokage, it seems something terrible happened over there at Yunlei Gorge. Tell me, why do you say it was me who wanted to attack your brother? HMPH, Uchiha Sora. Don't be pretentious here. Fourth Hokage waved his hand and said angrily, I have evidence. Afterwards, several ninjas were seen carrying in 3 corpses and throwing them in front of Uchiha Sora. I saw that these 3 people were wearing forehead protectors from the Grass Ninja Village. They were all ninjas from the Grass Ninja Village. Uchiha Kong frowned when he saw these 3 people. Because he discovered that these 3 people were indeed ninjas in his village, and as the leader, he had indeed seen the faces of these 3 people. It seems that someone is framing the situation. Uchiha Kong immediately thought of the key point, but he did not show the slightest panic, but said calmly, Fourth Hokage, based on these few corpses, do you have to draw a conclusion? If that is the case, then I won't either. Nothing more needs to be explained. HMPH. These people were discovered in Yunlei Gorge. When I rushed there, these people were besieging my brother. Also besieging were 2 people from the Akatsuki organization. Didn't you hire the Akatsuki organization? An operation against our Jinchuriki of Kumogakure. Fourth Hokage shouted. I saw all this with my own eyes. Even if you want to explain, it's already too late. My brother was kidnapped by those 2 Akatsuki organization people. I will definitely make you pay the price. After listening to Hokage's words, Uchiha almost guessed what happened. It seems that the Akatsuki organization attacked Killer Bee, and then deliberately placed the blame for the incident on itself by controlling several ninjas from Kusanagi village to participate in the siege. In the eyes of Fourth Hokage, he is the mastermind behind this incident. Akatsuki organization's move to sow discord was just right. It seems that this should be Uchiha Obito and Kuro's own counterattack. Hokage could no longer control his anger at this time. In anger, he rushed towards Uchiha as soon as he finished speaking. He is wearing a powerful lightning-style chakra coat, and his speed is as fast as lightning, making it almost difficult for people to react. In just the blink of an eye, he was in front of Uchiha Sora. Uchiha raised his hand and took out a Flying Thunder God Kunai, released his palm, and let it fall freely. At the same time, his figure disappeared instantly. Fourth Raikage punched the air with his fist. The next second, Uchiha Sora appeared on the spot again, and at this time, Fourth Raikage's figure had already passed Uchiha Sora's position, and his back was just exposed in front of Uchiha Sora. Fourth Raikage's pupils suddenly shrank. Flying Thunder God Technique. This scene was so similar. He had experienced the speed of the Flying Thunder God during his brief battle with the fourth Hokage. At this time, Uchiha Sora's performance was almost the same as that of fourth Hokage back then. This guy's speed is no weaker than fourth Hokage. Fourth Raikage secretly shuddered in his heart, his body flashed, and he hurriedly returned to his original position, staring at Uchiha Sora. When the surrounding ninjas who were hiding in the clouds saw this scene, they all looked shocked. Uchiha Sora is faster than fourth Raikage-sama. It's incredible. Yeah, it's not surprising that he's fast. What's strange is that he doesn't seem to have used Sharingan yet. His nerve reaction speed can actually keep up with Raikage-sama's movements. It's incredible. In the eyes of everyone, Uchiha Kong's strength is indeed very strong, but it is only powerful with the blessing of Sharingan. Under normal circumstances, Uchiha Kong's various abilities should be far inferior to those of Raikage-sama. But Uchiha Sora's performance greatly refreshed their knowledge. Fourth Raikage coldly snorted. Uchiha Kong, you really have the arrogance, but you have gone too far this time. You dare to hire people from the Akatsuki organization to attack my brother. I will definitely take this account from your Kusakunin village. Get it back from me. Declare war. From today on, Kumogakure village will regard Kusanagi village as its enemy. Let's see you on the battlefield. Raikage's words made the guard beside Uchiha Sora change his expression. Uchiha Kong just responded calmly, is this a declaration of war? Fourth Raikage, I advise you to investigate the matter clearly before saying this. HMPH. Of course I will investigate the matter clearly. But until my brother is found, you, including everyone in the Kumo ninja village, will be our enemy Kumogakure. Fourth Raikage said angrily. Fourth Raikage, are you sure you want to be my enemy? Uchiha said calmly. So what if I'm your enemy? Raikage said loudly. Very good. In that case, I hope you can be prepared. Uchiha waved his hand and turned to leave the conference room. Stop. Fourth Raikage shouted. Uchiha turned back and looked at him coldly. What? You want to keep me? Fourth Raikage said. What are you trying to do by taking by? Uchiha shook his head and laughed. I'll reiterate again, Killer Bee's disappearance has nothing to do with me. I hope you can investigate clearly before asking me. After saying that, Uchiha Kong led everyone away. Fourth Raikage and others did not stop him because they knew that it was impossible to retain Uchiha Sora's Flying Thunder God technique. Seeing Uchiha and others leaving, Fourth Raikage punched the table. I must rescue you. Next to him, the think tank of Kumogakure village whispered, Master Raikage, what should we do now? Are we going to launch a war against the country of grass? Fourth Raikage frowned. It's better to send someone to investigate the information first. Since Uchiha Kong hired the Akatsuki organization, we can first find out the situation from the Akatsuki organization. Yes, said everyone around. First find out the whereabouts of Hebe, find the target and then launch a rescue operation. Fourth Raikage said. Although he is reckless and impulsive, he is not a fool without thinking, and he still knows what to do next. If Bai's whereabouts are not detected and a war is launched blindly, then it will be a useless waste. After Uchiha left with his subordinates, he immediately entered Sage mode and began to sense the surrounding situation to see if he could find the aura of the Akatsuki members. Unfortunately, nothing was found. The accompanying Uchiha said leisurely, Chief, someone is obviously framing us this time and trying to sow discord between us and Kumogakure. Why don't you explain it clearly to Raikage? Uchiha Kong said calmly. There is no need to explain, because we can't provide evidence to refute it. Although we did not do this matter, as long as the person who really captured Killer Bee does not jump out, we will always be the primary target of Union Village. Quote. Uchiha Yu couldn't help but fell silent. It's been such an eventful year. A war with the Kingdom of Earth has just ended. Is there going to be a war with the Kingdom of Thunder soon? It's really stressful. Seemingly seeing Uchiha Yu's worries, Uchiha Sky's path. Don't worry, although Raikage is irritable, he is not the kind of brainless person. Eight Tails Jinchuriki is not in our hands. He has not found any information about 8 Tails Jinchuriki. Tails Jinchuriki should not easily start a full-scale war with us before they receive the information. At least, Union Village will definitely investigate first before taking action. Yes, the leader can see through it as expected. Uchiha Yu nodded in agreement. After the group returned to Kusanagi village, Uchiha gave an order to the pharmacist Nanoyu, asking her to focus her intelligence on finding 8 Tails Jinchuriki. He knew that with 8 Tails Jinchuriki's strength, even if the leader of the Akatsuki organization took action, he might not be able to really catch him. After all, 8 Tails Jinchuriki's means of escape were still very strong. In the original work, tail docking was used many times to survive. Maybe this time Killer Bee is just like the original, just pretending to be captured, but actually sneaking out to play. As for Kumogakure village, they launched a large-scale search operation after Uchiha Sora left. They mobilized all their intelligence capabilities and sent various spies to the Kusanagi village to inquire whether there was any information about Killer Bee. On the other hand, I went to the Akatsuki organization for verification, hoping to get some information from the Akatsuki organization. Unfortunately, their spies found nothing in the Grass Ninja village. The Akatsuki organization will naturally ignore them even more. This made Reikage very restless. If the information about Killer Bee disappears, Union Village will have no peace. Reikage wanted to launch a war against Kumo Ninja Village, but faced opposition from other senior officials of Kumogakure Village. There are 2 reasons for objection. First, it is still unknown whether Killer Bee is really in the Grass Ninja Village. Because of a calm analysis of the Akatsuki organization's encounter with the situation, Killer Bee's disappearance may also be the work of the Akatsuki organization itself and has nothing to do with Uchiha Sora. The second is that Uchiha Sora's strength is too strong, which makes the senior officials of Kumogakure village have lingering fears. They know that once a war is launched, there will be no turning back. Kumogakure village has currently lost 2 Jinchuriki, and its strength has been greatly affected. With only Reikage being a strong person, it is still unknown whether they can win the Kusanagi village, which is guarded by Uchiha Sora. If like the Earth Kingdom, it is defeated, it will be extremely detrimental to the development of the entire Union village. At that time, it will benefit Sunagakure village and Konoha village. Time passes day by day. At the insistence of 4th Reikage, Kumogakure finally adopted the agenda of launching war against the country of grass. The name of this war is to rescue Jinchuriki. Although it is uncertain whether the 8 Tails Jinchuriki is in Kusakunin village, the 2 Tails Jinchuriki is definitely there. Therefore, the goal of this war is very clear. However, this time, Union Village launched a war against Kwano Ninja Village and did not directly send a large number of ninja troops to attack. Instead, they adopted a vertical and horizontal strategy. First, I went to lobby Onoki from the Earth Country, hoping to reach an agreement with the Earth Country and attack the Grass Country together. It's just that Onoki's attitude was ambiguous and he didn't give a clear answer. So Union Village found Sand-Hidden Village of the Kingdom of Wind, promising a lot of resources and benefits, and wanted the Kingdom of Wind to take action. As a result, 4th generation Hokage notified Uchiha of the news the next day after receiving the news. Chief Uchiha Kong, the Kingdom of Thunder is going to take action against you, and the Kingdom of Earth may also follow suit. 4th generation Hokage sent his cronies to find Uchiha Kong, and said, he also found our Hokage-sama, but our Hokage the Lord dislikes the Kingdom of Earth very much. You defeated the troops of the Kingdom of Earth, which made him very happy, so he decided to side with you this time. If the Kingdom of Earth wants to launch a war against you, then we, the Kingdom of Wind, I will be responsible for helping you resist the pressure of the Earth Kingdom. Help me resist the Earth Kingdom. I wonder what the 4th generation Hokage wants. Uchiha Kong couldn't help but ask after hearing this. 4th generation Hokage-sama hopes that in the future war, if the country of fire intends to attack the country of wind, can you block the attack of the Konoha ninjas for him? Hokage said confidently. Interesting. Uchiha Sora couldn't help laughing after hearing this. The Kingdom of Thunder wants to persuade the Kingdom of Earth and the Kingdom of Wind to attack it. As a result, the Kingdom of Wind expressed its position to itself and wanted to stand with the Grass Ninja Village. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.